I'd got it right.
I said you got it right.
Did you? I can't mind. Well,
I don't know.
To be fair, it probably sums up my teaching career. You didn't listen.
Well, that's that.
So last week, Des on his quiz had the question: what is an energy fueled stadium?
Which team play at an
Energy fueled stadium?
I can think of that.
Which was a disgrace of a question.
No, it's not.
Unfortunately, I think Toby must have listened to it because he said, "Oh, is it like to do with like a fuel system or an energy system or something?" On the group chat, and Scott, you were bang on with Larkhall with Gasworks. You were at it, Des, and we'll see how you. Let's see what nonsense.
Listen. The questions are always factually correct.
I would never said it wasn't factually correct. It was just a horrendously worded question.
No wonder I didn't do well on my prelims on it.
Aye.
Questions like that.
I know. It's awful.
I bet you want to be your prelims. Ask me to worry about exams.
But so we'll be doing that for a spell for half of the show today. Actually, Des will be in the hot seat. I will be enjoying myself at the other side of the studio, taking it nice and easy. If Des gets into any trouble, makes any mistakes, I will just laugh at him and I'll leave him to it. Hopefully, it doesn't impact your enjoyment of the show. It might add to it.
Absolutely.
Des, like we've alluded to, we'll have Des's quiz later on as well. Let's hope, Scott. Let's hope that we're not getting any shenanigans.
Last week was my week and I wasn't here as well. I was looking at it and I thought, got that.
I've got 1,
We did
2, 3, 4, 5. I potentially get 7 questions.
Oh,
One of which should be quite interesting.
Well, remember, if you're tuning in on the brilliant East End Community Radio, you can get us on WhatsApp at 07396717412. That's 07396717412. If you've got any questions for myself or the guys, or any points you would like to make, don't hesitate to get in touch with us. You can also get us on X and Instagram at SatFootball Live, and you can get us on YouTube Live in the comment section. So for any of the people watching on YouTube, don't hesitate to give us a hello, ask us a question, put a statement, anything you want to do, just get in touch with us. We're more than happy to help. So let's get into PG versus the pundits. 5 games today, obviously no lower league, so we're just on West of Scotland duties. Right, first game in the Premier League. Benburb versus Johnston Borough. The Borough still have a chance of second spot in the league. It'll be tough for them with the way the Talbot are breathing down the neck and Troon's still in the hunt for it as well. Benburb really need to be winning. They beat them a couple of weeks ago, did they?
Yeah.
Beat them a couple of weeks ago. Had a good result during the week as well. They lost the late goal with Darvel.
Yeah.
That was a bit disappointing for them. But they're sitting 2 points off his shots just now. If they don't win today, it's their final game of the season. If they don't win today, they are officially relegated alongside Gartcairn and Darvel. So, gents, you get first crack at it. Scott, Benburb and Johnston Borough. How do we see it going?
It's getting harder and harder for me to predict these results, given also what's at stake for Benburb and Johnston Borough. For me, the last couple of weeks have hit a wee low in form, have hit a wee dip. I'm really struggling because given what's at stake, I would sway towards Benburb and maybe sneaking it.
Okay.
Maybe sneaking it.
I'm the complete opposite.
Borough.
Yeah. Right off
I think that the best that the bench could get is a draw, because I think it's got massive pressure on them. I also think Borough have got the Scottish Cup semi-final coming forward, so players will be jumping at the chance to try and get in that side to make a cup final.
That next weekend?
It's the 18th.
Yeah, next Sunday.
Yeah, next Sunday. So I know people might say Borough might rest a couple of players to make sure that there's injuries, but the quality of the Borough squad is got far more depth than the bench squad. I also expect Shotts to beat Gartcairn, which would negate the Ben's winning anyway.
Yeah.
So I just think that all the pressure. I think the best that the Ben's can hope for, and it's no slight to the Winters brothers and to the Lubner family, I just don't think you can expect the Ben's to come up with a result today.
Well, this is, barring the Pollock game next week against the Talbot, this is the final day of the season for the Premier League. So it's everything's decided today.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do?
I'm going Borough.
Borough.
I'll just hope for an exciting finish, that's all.
Borough Ben's.
We'll go with Borough, as I said. If we get another one, we can go with me. Yeah.
Okay, you guys have gone
Right.
for Borough.
Borough.
I am going to go for a draw.
Get the splinters out.
I know.
Well, no, because a draw isn't enough for them, but
That's
it's also a difference for us. So we've
Well,
got
Okay, fair
what's
enough.
it? Right.
Well, that's what I said. I thought a draw would be the best that the Bens could probably get from today.
Second game, first division, Glencairn versus Meda. I'll call this one first. This is a very, very interesting one. The Meda got the massive bounce for Jamie coming in a couple of months ago, and it's vastly improved. And now I think we're seeing the real Meda. I don't think this is on Jamie.
No.
And don't get me wrong, Meda's still winning enough games, they're still doing okay, but I think that we'll see a wee reversion back to type. I think that's what we're getting just now. So for that reason, Glencairn need the win. They need the win. If they don't get it today, I think it's almost too much for them. I know they still mathematically can do it, but I think that might be too much. So I'm going to go for Glencairn today. Des, how do you see it going?
Glencairn.
That easy. That's nice and easy.
Glencairn.
Moving on to the second division. This is an interesting one in terms of opposite ends of the table, but both have similar meaning to both sides. It's so vitally important for them. Scott, you made a point as we were off the air about Nielsen. What was your point and what do you see the game playing out like?
I think this is a game that they could potentially struggle in, but they've also scored a lot of goals recently. Can't take that away from them. But I'm looking at the pressure games they've had this season. The 5 losses they've had have all came in teams in the top 5. So for me, that's pressure games, and they're not handling them in the right manner if they want to look to go up. At the same side, Ants have had a couple of okay results recently as well. They need 3 points today. If they lose, I think that's it for them as well. But I would, on paper, you're expecting Nielsen to win, and listen, they may well go out and win comfortably. But I'm just going on what's at stake. The moments they've had when they've been under pressure, they've really failed to deliver. So I'm really struggling with this one. It's obvious it may look to people on the league tables and things. I don't know. And I've got to be honest, Nielsen haven't had a good record at the Ants Park recently either. They've lost a few games there as well. So I would probably say Nielsen on this, just because my heart tells me Nielsen are going to do it. Looking at the table, you think so as well. But just putting it out there, I would not be surprised if there's an upset in that one as well.
So what are you saying?
I'll go with Nielsen. But I'm still thinking, beyond that, there could be an upset.
No, I agree a lot with what Scott's saying. And the fact Nielsen are losing to their big rivals.
Yeah.
And if they go up, they're going to have big rivals around them all the time. But it's an unfortunate season for that. They've only won 8 games all season. They're minus 25 goals.
Yeah.
Listen, Nielsen should have enough to get through this game. And see, if they don't get through it, they don't deserve to be anywhere near getting promoted.
I think that's it. If they don't get through it, I think that's it for them.
Yeah. Oh no, I totally agree. But I'll go with Nielsen.
I'm going to go for Nielsen as well.
Yeah.
We've got Liam Callow on the comments on YouTube has said 4-0 with the Borough against Benburg. He's not giving Benburg any chance. He's gone for 2-1 for Meda against Glencairn. Do you know, even though we've both gone for Glencairn, I know we're going off tangent a wee bit here, but I can see why you would say that. I genuinely think that Glencairn have dropped points at inopportune moments, but I'm going for Glencairn. I'm going to go for Nielsen. Scott, you make the point obviously about Nielsen dropping points in pressure games, but they've only done it to the teams about them.
Yeah.
Playing the teams below, they pretty much always beat the teams below. So that's where I'm leaning towards with Nielsen. I don't think that the Ants have got enough in the bank to be able to go and beat them. Looking at Division 3, we are Finnart and Greenock. My call on this one, I'm going to go for Greenock. I think that they've picked up a wee bit of form. They had that dip, the tremendous stage where they hardly lost a goal for months.
Yeah.
Then they had the real dip in form, and they're starting to pick it back up again. They do score a lot of goals. Finnart, they're in a bit of transition period. I mean, you look at they've won 13, they've drawn 2, and they've lost 13. So it's sugar or something else, you know what I mean? So I'm going to lean with Greenock on this one. Scott, how do you see it playing out?
Probably the same. I think obviously Finnart it's kind of dead rubber for them, really. I know it sounds silly saying that because every game potentially isn't a dead rubber, but they're 8th in the league. They're not going up, they're not going down. But Greenock have got a lot riding in this result, so I think Greenock for me today.
Des?
Well, obviously Greenock went away against Lugar last week, 3-1. It's a big result.
Yep.
They've been through a wee sticky patch. Fnac losing at home, equal Scythe. I know Scott said it's a dead rubber. It's a dead rubber for Fnac. There's a lot to play for Greenock. So again, this is where you're going to look for character coming from a team. And I'm sure Fleming will be making sure this is drilled right into his team. On paper, to me, I'm thinking a draw, but I think with what's at stake, I'll go with Greenock.
Greenock, both going for Greenock, and that's fair enough. Liam Callow again goes for Nielsen 3-1 against the Ants and a 3-3 draw with Greenock for that. So he's
specific.
He's disagreeing with us on that one. And on to our final featured fixture, Kello and St Peters in the 4th division. Des, how do you see this one playing out?
I think as we said about a lot of the games recently, this is the crunch time. So if Kello have got ambitions to go up, they've got to win this. St Peters are safe. I know Scott said he watched the midweek against Red. By all accounts, they played very well and were unfortunate. This is when managers have got to get the character in the team. They're at home. It's a bit of travel. I'm going for Kello.
Yeah, going for Kello as well. Yeah. St Peters have also had a good end to the season. But Kello beat St Peters, was it last week or the week before, 3-0 as well. So it's quite comfortable. So yeah, Kello. Yeah,
I'm going to agree and go for Kello as well. Now, Easterhouse aren't playing today, so that would allow Kello to go even in games with them, both on 28 games. Then, if they win, Kello win 5 points for 2 games. They're almost over the line. They're almost over the line. It's very hard to see. Like, I appreciate Kello of Rochdale, and I know Rochdale have fallen away. But Josh's teams, with the way they play football, they catch you on a good day.
Yeah,
they can beat everybody in that league, which I think is something they've shown as well. So it is quite interesting for Kello on that. So we have our PG versus the Pundits, which will be Des versus the Pundits next week. Benburb, Johnson Borough. I've gone for the draw. You guys have gone for the Borough. Glencairn and the Meda will both gone for Glencairn. Nielsen and the Ants will both gone for Nielsen. Fnac and Greenock will both gone for Greenock. And Kello and St Peters will both gone for St Peters. So we'll see how it plays out with the Benburb and Johnson Borough game to see if I can win for a change. And I don't hold out a great deal of hope, but we'll see how it goes. So in the Premier League, final day, like I said, barring the Talbot and Pollock game next week, which could potentially be Talbot fighting for that second place spot to get as high as they can up the league and finish what would be a decent season for them. Before we get into the game, Benburb obviously being the main focus. Johnson Borough, Des, how do we view Johnson Borough's season?
I think you can only count it as a success. I mean, they didn't win the league last year and they came up. They're the highest placing club that's been promoted. Murdy's put together a very, very strong club. I know people say they've got finances behind them. That's all well and good. Yeah. It doesn't mean you put a team behind that.
No.
So I think he's done extremely well. If they finish in second position, and we know obviously there's only 1 point between them and the Talbot, see if we finish in the top 3, I think you've got to consider that a success.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. You look at where they were last season as well. There was a moment where it looked like they might not go up. They were really struggling. Obviously, Jamie hit a wee blip, and then Murdy came in, and I think he's done a great job. I think he's done a really good job. And to go into the Premier League, which is a really difficult league, you said other teams that have come up are really, really struggling. Borough have also got on some right good results this season. Scottish Cup semi-final to look forward to. I think it's a great year.
I would tend to agree. I'd say it's been a B+. A B+ year.
Really that bad, yeah?
No, a B+.
B+.
An A is if they win the league.
I know, but
that's if they win the Scottish.
If they win the Scottish, I'd say it's an A.
And then an A+ would be the league. But I would say
an A-. That's what I was looking at.
We'll go for an A- then. An A-. I'd say.
Scott, you never knew that letter existed, did you?
No.
He was at D- then, man. But I'd say it's been a pretty solid season for the Borough. they can be pretty happy with how they've done. Like you said, they've come up, and Scott, you touched on it there as well. They just came up.
Mhm.
They didn't win the league last year, but I think that they should be pretty happy with that first season back in the Premier League in a long time. And I understand they've got the financial resources now, but again, like you said, that doesn't guarantee anything.
And see the two highest earners that were at the club. They're not regular.
Well,
features.
Dorrans is gone.
Dorrans is gone, and Lafferty's a sophomore.
See, the other thing you've got to look at as well, Clydebank have a freak season,
Mm.
but they've lost one game.
I know.
Do you know what I mean?
And they're probably disappointed with that. The fact they lost that game.
100%. So if you take that out of the equation as such, Borough are up there challenging for a league title. I know it's all hypothetical, but Clydebank have a freak season, losing one game. They've been head and shoulders above everybody else in the league.
Mm.
So you look at it that way, you've got to say, if it wasn't for that, we are your title contenders.
And what a title race it would have turned it to have been
Mhm.
if it wasn't for Clydebank. I know that's very.
I know.
But no, I'd say I think it's been a really good season. Before we talk about the game, let's talk about Benbub's season. Scott, how do you feel their season's been?
Well, obviously they've only won 5 games. Potentially could be 5 if they don't win today, the whole season. So unfortunately, that is relegation for them. They had a good wee kind of phase, kind of 3/4 of the way through the season. They started picking up some results, and I thought they were going to kick on a wee bit, but they've just slowly been dropping down the table week by week by week. So I think it's disappointing for them, but they're fighting against a lot of teams with bigger budgets than them down there as well. But I do think they'd maybe be struggling to stay in the league, but they'd be expecting to win more than 5 games.
Right, since I've started this with the A minus and the B plus stuff, how would you rate their season in terms of that? Struggling.
It's a C. It's poor.
See,
It's got to be. They're getting relegated, so there's nothing successful about that, is there?
Des, how do you feel their season's been?
I'd say a D.
A D, right?
That's the idea. What Paul Lovering had done there to get them into the league successfully and keep them there for a few years. I know people say they don't have the budget of the other ones. They've got the facilities,
Mhm.
they've got the lets, they've got the social club. So they will have a decent amount of budget. Not comparable with the other ones, but they were always competitive in the league. I remember when you never get an easy game at the Bens. Never. I just think they're really disappointed. I know they changed management halfway through the
There's
season,
a few changes in there recently.
and you think that'll get them that wee lift. It's just never happened for them this year, and the club will be really, really disappointed.
Yeah.
Position they're in, and unfortunately, I don't see them staying up. I'm taking Borough to win today, so I think it's got to be a D for me.
I think that it's funny. It's so dependent. Say Shorts lose and the Bens win, they stay up.
Mhm.
But assuming that everyone we're going to say we're going to assume Clydebank get promoted just for easiness because 4 teams could potentially come down.
Yep.
But if they win today, Shorts lose, I'm turning around and saying it's been a good season.
It's
It's
that.
actually been a good season overall
So
because
you can go from a D to a B.
yeah, exactly. You could. It's been overall. It's been a good season. I think they're kind of sitting where they should be sitting.
Mhm.
I think that is they're that team. Them and Shorts are very much the teams that are that bouncing between that fine line.
Yep.
So I'd say it's pretty fair where they're sitting. But for me, I think they'd probably be disappointed defensively.
Yeah, of course.
77 goals conceded. Like we've touched on it quite a few times with Shorts. They don't get battled from anybody.
No.
Darvel don't even necessarily get battled for anybody. It happens the odd time.
Yeah.
They get the odd 4 or 5 that they get, but that's rare. Whereas for the Bens, they've had quite a few doings, and I think that would probably be the disappointing part for me.
I think for me is the bit that's going to go in Shots. We were there at home today to Gartcairn,
Mhm.
and Shots are a different team playing up there.
Yeah.
But if you look at Gartcairn, Gartcairn have only lost. They've got a -3 goal difference.
Yeah.
Which is, look, the only, Pollock at -1, but they're mid-table. -3, and you're sitting second bottom in the league.
I know.
So obviously the points deduction has done for Gartcairn as well. Well, if you put with these at 15, they get
15.
deducted, so they're technically sitting 9th if you take that away.
But
But
the results of late have
that's
just
what I
been-
mean. The results of late have been, but as if they've just chucked it.
We've just had a question in there. You guys have mentioned the money some clubs have in the Premier Division.
Mhm.
As someone who is new to the west of Scotland, how big is the gulf in money between divisions? I think once you start getting into the second division, it becomes huge.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't know who's messaged this in, but if you want to message back your name, I appreciate the message in. I think that when we get to the stage of, I'd say there's even quite a gulf in certain divisions as well.
There is. I think it really depends. There is certain teams in certain divisions that we all know have got bigger budgets and maybe get a first division budget playing in the third division, this type of stuff, because they've maybe historically been at a higher level for a long time and they've accumulated funds and they've managed to build. But I think looking at as you said, the first division's generally speaking decent budgets, but there's squads in there you can look at and say, well,
I know for a fact 2 teams in the first division that are on roughly similar kind of money that are in different positions. And one club that's on an extensive budget using an extremely different.
Well, you look at the Premier League. If we split the Premier League, the top 5 are all teams with good budgets.
Top 6.
The Drum are a bit. I'd say they're middle-ish of the road. They're kind of maybe 6th to 10th or 11th in terms of budget, because I do have a wee bit of knowledge of how it works for them, and it's not quite what people think it is, but it's decent. It is a decent budget. Clydebank, good budget. The Borough, scandalous how good their budget is. The Talbot, it's not insane, but they've got really strong. They're a really strong club financially, and the whole package. Clydebank and the Talbot are a different level for me with how steady everything is across the board.
I think what Clydebank does, they spread it
really
very well, and they use it very well. I don't think there's anybody there who's on ridiculous money.
No, that'll be good money, but
and they've made that money back also.
For the Scottish Cup and everything. But Troon, we are guilty of it as well, talking about how impressive it is that Troon have had this season. Troon have a good budget.
They have.
They spend good money on players. I think they limit the size of their squad so that they can spread the money more, which is, for me, is perfectly fine. I mean, you're being sensible with the budget you have.
Quality over quantity.
St Cadoc's obviously the budget's going to be cut, but moving down, you're talking about the first division. Now, there are certain teams in that division who have pretty good money for it, but you do notice a noticeable drop for the good budgets in the Premier League to the good budgets in the first division. And there are teams in that first division who will have bigger budgets than Premier League sides, but they'll be the bottom end Premier League teams. So to answer your question, there can be quite a drop, and particularly once you start getting into the second division, you've got teams who some teams don't even pay, or it's merely expenses. And again, third division, fourth division, most of the fourth division don't pay, so it's it does become quite a drop. But I suppose that's what you'd expect, and most people find the level.
The money talks.
But moving back on to today's game, we'll get a couple of wee comments in here. Next weekend could be massive for the show, boys. Ups and downs, pitch side reports. Next season need to look at having some every featured game for calling updates and live. Okay, we'll keep that in mind. We'll try and see what we can do. Remember, we're volunteer basis here, but we'll try and see what we can do for everything. Benburb and Johnson Borough. We all drove by New Tinto on the way in today, and it actually looked quite busy when I was getting by. I think that we could see a reasonable crowd at this game. I don't think Benburb get massive crowds, but I think you could see a reasonable crowd.
I think there's a lot of backing behind Borough at this moment, because obviously the potential Scottish Cup semi-final, potential Cup final, but they've got the Scottish Cup semi-final, so you'll want to get behind their team and see them on a rush and try to put a wee bit of impetus behind them. I'm sure
it's an exciting couple of weeks for Borough coming up. Do you know, as I said, if they get through this tie next week, then Scottish Cup final look through. It's been a good season. I think I'm still going back to it. I think it's been a really good season for the Borough.
We'll stay on the Premier League for a wee bit longer. So the main, like we say, if we assume that Clydebank go up just for easiness, the big games today: Shotts and Gartcairn, Benns and Johnson Borough. What about Shotts and Gartcairn? What would we see happening here? Do you think Gartcairn season's over, relegated, or do you think that with the new management, players are playing for a future potentially?
I think there's a bit of both in it. If I'm playing for Gartcairn, I want to win this game. You want to finish the season high. excuse me, regardless, wherever you're finishing the league, you want to win your last game of the season. Every team does. They've had a couple of decent results as well, Gartcairn, at times. They've threw a couple of big results in the last couple of weeks, surprise results. But as you said, shots don't generally lose games by high margins. They do love a draw, to be fair. So I wouldn't be surprised. Well, that's it. I wouldn't be surprised to see a draw today. But I'd like to see Shots stay up. I like Shots. I think they're a well-run club. I think they don't punch above their weight. They punch above their weight, sorry, but we're talking about budgets and things like that as well. They don't spend without their means. I'd like to see Shots stay up today.
Des?
No, I agree. I've also a liking for Shots in the way they conduct themselves. They doesn't matter what league they're in, they always give honest shows. What would be interesting to see is how many of the Gartcairn players, McStay and Dan Barr, have signed up for next year.
I mentioned it last week. There's a few who are on 2-year deals. So unless they're willing to ask to be transfer listed, which will bring in a bit of money for the guys, then they're there. So there'll be a few that'll have to stay.
So if they're having to stay because they've got a 2-year deal, what's their motivation? Because they know they're down anyway. So you're playing for professional pride.
Yeah.
So that's it. And if you want to be involved in that team next year, now Ryan and Dan are involved at Airdrie 18s, weren't they?
They were, yeah.
So they can get a handpick of young guys.
Yeah.
And that was a couple of years ago as well, so they'll be early 20s.
A bit more mature. So I'm sure that they'll be tapping into that kind of, not just Airdrie, but teams that are around that area. And these guys are in 2-year deals thinking, wait a minute, I might not even get again next year. So it's all to play for. I hope Shots stay up.
Same.
Well, we're going to go to a quick break, and when we come back, we've got a question asked about the potential 3 teams being relegated, how they're going to survive next season if they come back up. So we'll be right back after this. We'll go on next side there. You can. And welcome back to Saturday Football Live. Joined in the studio by Des Roach and Scott Perry. Remember, a shout out to our fantastic sponsors, VSN. Their number is running along the bottom of the screen. If you're looking for any bespoke kit, then get in touch with Gary for VSN and they can sort you out. And whatever you're looking for, they have the best of gear about. And remember, if you're looking for an insurance broker, Roxburgh Insurance Brokers are the best in the game. Go and give them a shout and get sorted, whatever you need sorted, because I'm not too big on the insurance broker game. I've never needed one.
Graham will look after you.
But Graham at Roxburgh will more than sort you out. Top guy and top business. Remember, if you want to get in touch with us, and you can get us on the YouTube comments section. It's been really good, actually, a really good start to the day. Lots of comments coming in, which we're loving seeing, so don't hesitate to get in touch with us, whether it be on the comment section of YouTube or if it's going to be over text message or WhatsApp. And it was Lewis that sent us a question earlier about the budget, so thanks for that, Lewis. We appreciate you listening. So we're going to move on to the First Division. Sorry, before we do that, we'll talk about Liam's question. So Liam asked, do you think the 3 teams who will drop down to the first will go straight back up? So we'll just assume it's the bottom 3 right now. Darvel, Gartcairn, Benburb. How do you think, Scott? How do you think they would do next season?
I think they would do okay. We spoke about it before. That first division is cutthroat. It is a difficult league. Excuse me. For me, the most competitive league out of them all. Teams at the bottom are very capable of beating the teams at the top. So I think they'll be okay. I don't see any of them going down. Put it that way. But see teams like Darvel and Gartcairn, especially the two, they'll probably be expecting to go back up. That's what their remit will be. Go back up.
I wonder. So Gartcairn, I expect Gartcairn to be going back up in terms of that's completely what everything's aimed at. They're going to try and go back up. I wonder what will happen with Darvel though. No, I wonder if you hear the odd rumour that the money's drying up a wee bit. Now, if Mick, I know Mick's not a great season, and we've been big advocates of Mick on the show. I think he is a really good young manager, and I think he's got a lot of qualities. The long and short is, it's not good enough.
No.
And they are where they are, even with the deduction, it's not good enough. They've been the worst team in the league, so they deserve to go down. Now, if Mick stays, then and the budget stays similar, I think they'll be really competitive next year. It's whether or not that's going to be the case, though, Des.
Looking at the 3 teams potentially going down, if we take it as they are, I would expect Gartcairn to come straight back up. I would expect Darvel to be right in amongst it.
Same.
I'm not sure the Bens would be ready to go because there's a lot of teams who have been in that league for a couple of years that aren't going to come up, and I think they could swallow up the Bens.
Budgets get smaller as well if you're not going to be in that Premier League. It cuts year on year. So
I'd say Gartcairn are in the best position to come back up.
Yeah, I would say I agree.
If you take away the 15 points deduction, then they wouldn't be anywhere near there.
That's true.
To start. So they've got to start the season as favourites. It really just depends on how much Darvel are willing to. I don't mean throw at it, how much they're willing to back it up. And this will be a really good test of character for Mick to see, now go and do it.
And I wonder if he will stay. I really don't know. We've had a question in from James. Thanks for your question, James. It's got a question for the 3 of us. What do you think the EK and Bonnyrigg score will be? It's a really interesting question, that for me. On paper, I would say EK win. I'm sitting on the fence a wee bit.
Same.
I think that, and I know for a fact, had this said to me for a fact, that certain individuals at EK were more worried about getting Bonnyrigg than they were about getting Forfar. And I think that it will be a really difficult game. I think if East Kilbride turn up for the games, they'll go through. They are the better side in my eyes. But do they turn up? It's a hard one to call.
I think they do.
I think they do as well.
They went through the turmoil last year of not getting across the line, and that'll be getting no doubt that'll be getting drilled through the team this week. Not to browbeat them, but to motivate them and to make sure. Again, it's really unfortunate. Bonnyrigg are getting penalised because of the slant on the pitch.
They lost points as well, didn't they?
They lost.
So that got them relegated.
Yes,
that got them relegated to 3 points
because of the slant on the pitch. So I allow them in the league.
Exactly.
I know, unless there was a stipulation that you had X amount of time to fix it, and they missed it, then fair enough. That's on them.
But I would think that a team who's finishing bottom of the league has got less confidence and motivation than a team that's finishing top of the league. And let's be honest, East Kilbride have been proven a far better team than the Lone League. But they went up to Brora last week and they got a wee shake, didn't they?
They did.
But what I would say in their defence, they go 3-1 down and you're like, oh, this is squeaky bum territory. And they came back and got the job done.
So that's character.
Because you know that up there, and do you know that's something I'd say that might be the difference for this year and last year without having seen East Kilbride play much, because I saw them I think twice this season. I've seen them play. That's probably something you could say that the Stranraer game last year when they lost that's maybe been similar to the 3-1 down against Brora, where they've been able to dig deep and go and get the result. And I think, like you said, that shows character. And again, like you said, they've been drummed into them. Promotion is what's needed. And I genuinely hope that East Kilbride go up, because I think, like was touched on with Clydebank, they're the best equipped and suited team to go up, and I think that they could have a right good go at it if Mick and Si stay. They keep the backing, they get the fans on board.
They're getting more backing.
Exactly. I think that I wouldn't be surprised if Everton, like, Everton falling out of place type thing, right, that we see East Kilbride and Clydebank in the Championship in the next 10 years.
I would say you could probably see East Kilbride in League One within 3 years, and I think you could probably see Clydebank in League One in probably about the same kind of time.
Yeah, I'd agree. One other thing I'll say for Bonnyrigg Rose, they went up through the same means, so they'll not want to come back down again.
No.
They'll have to go through all that again if they want to come back up. So they've done it the hard way as well, through East and through. So they've got experience.
Is that again not a bit of credit to our level, so to speak, that these legacy clubs who are potentially getting invited back in, it just makes it.
Because Bonnyrigg will be a good side in that league if they come to the and I think they'll be a great addition to the league. I think that
Bonnyrigg would be favourites to go back up.
See, if you look at Clydebank, if they can get past Musselburgh, if Clydebank go in and Bonnyrigg come down, I'd say the league's stronger. I mean, I know East Kilbride, I think East Kilbride are on their day better than both teams.
Yeah.
But I think overall, you've got two real strong additions, whereas you're losing Broomhill, who are not brilliant, and then I think it would genuinely be a really good one. James has said there's a bit similar to your point. I think if he can go up, they will get back-to-back promotions, and I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
No.
I don't think that'd be surprising at all. Moving on to the first division, but thanks for your question there, James. Glencairn and Irvine Meadow, really interesting game for me. Glencairn need to win to put the pressure on Kilwinning. They're currently sitting 2 points behind with a game in hand, but there's no game for Kilwinning today, so they have to go and get the win, keep the pressure on, keep a bit of pressure on Renfrew as well, as they're currently 3 points behind Renfrew with a better goal difference. So we could be looking at Glencairn sitting second spot in the league today if they win. But at the other end of the table, Irvine Meadow, they only need a point. They only need a point to, sorry, am I reading that right? They're 4 points clear of Mabel.
No, they need more than that.
Yeah, they need more than that. Sorry, my maths is shocking. And apologies for my sore throat today.
Need a win.
They need the win. The win guarantees them.
Yeah.
And see if they don't get the win today, and they're playing. If Mabel get a result and they're playing Mabel final day of the season,
Brilliant game.
then we're really, really interesting.
Where is that game?
Hang on, I'll just have a wee look for you.
Yeah.
So the final game is at Mabel.
See, I'd fancy Mabel for that one because that is a tough place to go. It's one of the parts played it before that I wouldn't want to go back and play, just being honest. It's always a difficult game. It is miles away. Obviously, it's not miles away in terms of Irvine Mabel, do you know what I mean? But I would fancy Mabel for that.
And you don't get a true bouncer.
No, you don't.
No, definitely don't. It's definitely a toughie. I always seem to, when I played against Mabel, I don't know why, I think 3 times in a row when I played against Mabel, it was Grand National Day.
Was it?
3 times.
Strange.
3 times, not 3 years in a row, but 3 times in a row when I played Mabel at the end of the season. Grand National Day was it. Do you know, I don't think I ever lost?
No, I've only lost it once, but it's always
I don't
been.
think I ever lost
I
it.
think looking at the games the way they've panned out, they're playing the Rock today.
Yeah.
The Rock went like that down there.
Well, the Rock need to win.
They have to
The
win.
Rock get this outside chance, but it's a slim chance at that.
It shows the permutations and differences we get. Because if Mabel beat the Rock and Glencairn beat Meadow, then we're sitting with 1 point in it between it going into the final day. But on the flip side, conversely, if the Rock beat Mabel and the Meadow win, then Mabel are gone, but the Rock are a really solid chance of getting promoted. Getting into Kilwinning the last day of the season. So the Rock have to win the next 2 games, and if they do, they'll get promoted.
Just looking at, see if Mabel lose today. Is that not it?
That's it.
They need one.
If they don't win, it's
finished.
Well, pretty much anyway. Because
the Rock and Glencairn are both on 28 games. So if the Rock win, that takes them up to 51.
Yeah.
With 1 game to go, and Glencairn have still got a game to go. So it's 1 point between them the final game of the
season. And we'll look at not just that final game of the season if the Rock win today, as against Kilwinning. Say the Rock win by a goal, the Rock will go to plus 12 goal difference and play Cowan in the last day, who are plus 14 goal difference.
Mad.
If the Rock beat Cowan by a goal, they're both equal goal difference, but Cowan,
Does it then go to the head-to-head?
the Rock would beat them on 2 goals extra scored, potentially.
It's mad to think you could lose 10 games and get promoted.
Aye.
It's wild, this league. It really is.
Winning just over half your games and could get relegated. So we're going to play a wee clip. I spoke to Jamie, it was this morning I spoke to him, asked him how he was feeling after the defeat to Blantyre during the week, which we've not even touched on. That was a massive one. Blantyre have been getting beat quite convincingly, quite regularly, and then they play the Meda and go and beat them 4-2 during the week. So here's what Jamie had to say on that.
Obviously, I'm disappointed in terms of you want to go there and take 3 points, with what it means to us and what it effectively means to Blantyre, with their position already decided. But it's one of the things, you don't have time to feel sorry for yourself for dwelling on it too long, because after the Wednesday, we were in training Thursday night, which was more important to get the boys lifted, get us a bit of positivity back into them and prepare for the Saturday. So with the fact it was a midweek game, it gives us this opportunity to bounce back straight away. So we're looking forward to the day, and hopefully we can take all 3 points.
I think he makes a good point where you've not got time to feel sorry for yourself. I mean, it's Wednesday, Saturday.
Yeah. Good
to go again. And what do you think, Scott, about that defeat to Blantyre? I didn't see that coming.
No, neither did I. But you're looking at this time of the season, Blantyre are probably looking at next season.
Yeah.
They maybe get some of their 20s in, whatever, boys that want to prove a point. As Des was talking earlier on, with previous teams, people that want to be there for next season. So maybe there's been a kind of element of that in it, but Meadow have certainly taken their eye off the ball with that one, I feel, because Blantyre have only got 12 points. You're expecting them in the position they are, and it's a poor show of character for me as well. You need to go and win that game, or worst, take a point, and you lose convincingly. But I think Jamie's done the right thing there. He's not really taking it on board. He's just like, you know what, we move on to next week. There's no point in dwelling on it. It's done. They're in a position. They need to go out and get something today.
Yeah, I agree. There's nothing that Jamie can do about it. He's come in. Listen, see, to be fair as well, he's been back because he's brought quite a number of players in.
Yep.
I just think that Irvine Meadow, and having been there and knowing the people that are around it, something just seems to suck the life out of them.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Jamie has got whether they stay or whether they don't, he's got a massive summer ahead of him, because what the team that finishes this season will certainly be nothing like the team that starts next season.
Let's listen to actually ask Jamie a couple of questions because I was really interested. I've asked them, is it all about the draw? So
can you go into a game looking for a draw?
Well, and I've also realised my error as well, and now that I'm saying this, I realise my error in the question, because a draw might not be enough for them today, but also potentially could be, even a defeat might be enough for them, depending on how the Mayo game goes. But I've asked them, would you be looking at playing for a draw, or is it all about the win? It has to be all about the win. So here's what Jamie had to say on that.
No, we'll be setting up for the win. I don't think there's enough between any of the teams in this league for us to do anything other than that. I think we've shown, part of the thing that's disappointed me actually is we've matched our opposition rather than setting our own standards at times across the season. When we played Atherley at home, but we're really unfortunate. For me, they're the best team in the league. We were really unfortunate not to take anything for the game. I thought we were the better side in the day, showing that we can compete at the top. But then on Wednesday night, we go to Blantyre, a team that's already relegated. Don't get me wrong, they have a wee bit of quality on our side, but again, we go there, we drop the levels, we match them, and they take the points. So it's about setting our own standards and trying to make sure we take the win. And listen, if you look at the big picture, when we first came in here, I knew this was going to be a big challenge, and keeping Irvine Meadow in the league would be my biggest achievement in football, in my opinion. And that's what we've done all right in terms of our last job. But when we first came in, we were really low in points, really low in quality. But I feel now that we're right at the business end. We're 2 games left. We are right in with a chance of keeping us up, which we should. in my opinion. But it's all about us putting in the right performance in the next 2 weeks and making sure it doesn't fall into other people's hands.
I think he's right in the sense they have to go for that. I found it quite interesting. We looked at each other there when he made the comment of they've almost played to match other teams instead of playing their way. And I think that's maybe partially because it's not completely Jamie's team yet.
Yeah.
It's no, he has brought in bodies and he's had enough time with the current playing staff to improve them or get his message across. But I still think, you know what it's like when you get into a team, it takes time to make it your team properly. And I think it's going to be really, really interesting to see where they go here. I still think they'll stay up. But if we had to look at worst case scenario, maybe we'll win today, maybe they'll lose, maybe we'll beat them next week. What does Jamie do then?
Oh, I mean, that is the $1 million question. Even out with that, Irvine Meadow going down to the second division is unthinkable. Where they've been
Back to
the
back.
previous, to say the last kind of 10, 15 years, they've always been Premier League club.
I think Jamie has to stay.
He has to.
I think it would be terrible for the club if he didn't.
100%.
I think it would be really bad for them, didn't it?
Jamie also been at the Borough, being a Premier League manager. Now, people will clamour to get the Irvine Meadow job, we know that. But you need the right kind of character.
Yeah.
You need the right kind of guy. And is Irvine Meadow in the second division an appealing option? How much interference are you going to get from above? How much backing are you going to get from above?
Pressure you would have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you would be expected
To win
to
every
win,
game.
not even just to get promoted. Even though I think the committee would accept promotion,
Mm-hmm.
but you'd be expected to win the league.
And they're a licensed club.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I think next season's the same. See if they stay in the league,
They're
I think they're still
to go up.
expected to win that league as well. That's the committee. They will expect we win this league, but they have to go up.
Nah, I would say that
I don't think they will.
No,
I don't think so. I think
they
there's
need to
probably
establish
I think there's like maybe an A, a B, and a C goal.
Mhm.
An A goal would be competitive, right up there. The B goal would be get promoted. The C goal would be win the league.
win the league.
Because I don't think they'll put the expectation of you have to, like Jamie's there next season, you have to win the league. Whereas
I think they would.
I think
they will
that
as well.
I just don't think so. I think that
I-
unless they're not, how would I word this? Unless their understanding of the situation and awareness of the situation is so poor.
have they been aware of the situation for the last 3-4 years?
Correct. That's my take on it. Looking at it, and I think to myself, they've always got the same demand. It's demanding this, and then I think, are your expectations realistic to what's actually going on in the park? So I think something needs to change there.
Yeah, and I think that
I think someone has to change it.
I think that Jamie, maybe I'm blowing smoke up his backside too much, but I think Jamie is so vitally important to this club at this time. Where if
That's the stability you need.
100%.
he needs to be there. There is obviously other people who could come in and do the same, but he needs to be there for me to have that stability, to have that presence. He's got enough about him where I think he would be saying to the committee, "No, this is my gig.
That will never happen.
I'm telling you, this is what I want."
Mhm.
Whether or not they can meet in the middle and make it work, but I think that if they go down and Jamie leaves, then I still think they would have enough to be able to get back up if they get a reasonable manager in. But really, it makes it so much tougher.
See, one of the positives, Jamie's still a young man.
Yeah,
He's it's ages to me, he's 34, 35. He's got a lot of experience in the leagues for a manager so young.
Yep.
Meda could have hit the jackpot for me if this goes right, because Jamie could be there and build and be there for the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years if they play it right. But you know what it's like, longevity and Irvine Meadow don't seem to be hand in hand for the last while.
no, definitely not. What about Glencairn? What do we think there's on Glencairn? What would we rate Glencairn's season?
I'd rate Glencairn at probably a B plus
Mhm.
at this moment in time. Is roughly where they would want to be. If they can get across the line, it would be an A, obviously. But they've had a very functional season.
Yeah.
They're a very functional team, very functional club. They've got a good management team in there. They've got a lot of flair players that are around him. They've got Mark McBride, it's a steady influence. You've got young Rowan Fitzpatrick in there as well. Glencairn are a decent side.
Yeah.
They're a decent team. And I'd say they are where they are on expectation. See if you put Rutherglen in second and Renfrew in fourth, that wouldn't surprise you. You're in. I would still say if Renfrew were fourth, Renfrew still had a great season.
Yeah.
But for where Renfrew are just now, and I'll keep my Renfrew hat on, we've just got one cup final.
We're going to do decided that we're going to do a manager of the year between us all. With other guys like Paul and Johnny as well. I think that, because me and Paul spoke about it the other day about who could be manager of the season, and it was the two A's ended up with similar lists, but it was very much like, but you could put such and such and put such and, but we both said Jimmy Quigley's got to be right in there. I think that if Renfrew get promoted, that might top Moth for me.
I think given where they were last season, they were really
struggling
to get down. I remember we played with Neilston and I was like, no, they're not staying in this league, because on the day they were really poor.
And there's no stars in that Renfrew team.
No, there's not.
But Jojo Gillespie at that level is probably
he's decent. Yeah.
He's a step up, I'd say, but other than that degree, it's very.
But yeah, I would never have seen this come. As I said, I've still got a bet on with Nicky. I owe him 20 quid. I was sitting in the pub at the start of the season. I said, thank you guys. Based on what I saw, are going down. So wrong. Couldn't be.
I'm
happy to be humbled. 100% happy to be humbled.
And it's just Arthur have got the league wrapped up. I mean, if Arthur can somehow lose the league from here, somehow,
don't see it.
I honestly think that I could get me and 10 mates and lose the remaining games, but keep it close enough that you could keep the goal difference acceptable to get promoted. I still think that.
Put him in goals.
I'd be all right.
I think you'd be all right.
But it's funny though, like Arthur could still win like by a points difference, and not win any games in the last three. But that's not going to happen. They're definitely going to win the league for me. We're in that really interesting wee bit there. We ran through Cowan and Glencairn, and we'll bring the Rock in it as well. Away to Mabel today, tough one for them. The Rock are used to know the best surfaces, to be fair, but that's a tough one for them as well.
I think they're both battling teams, but I think that it's a difficult one. You could get in there and say that could be a good game to watch, but it could also be, because they're both battling sides, a poor. But I think that would be a good game to take in, to be honest with you. As I said, they're both got good, really difficult teams to break down and beat. So I think that's going to be a tight game of the.
I think it'll be a competitive game.
I
don't think it'll be a good game to watch. There'll be a lot of football played, but I think it'll be a rousing battle.
Yeah, a few tackles in that one, I think.
Myself and Paul, when we spoke about this, we did not mention Kendall. If Kendall can get the Rock promoted from this position, then I think he's got to be a contender for manager of the year as well. Yeah. Surely he's the fact that, I mean, look at just had such a good start. It looked like they completely thrown it away, and they've managed to claw it back. And they're so, I know it's funny we're saying it, they're sitting 6 points back from Cowan, but it's actually in their own hands. They win the 2 games and they have a chance.
It's a big ask, I think. I just see, obviously, with Rutherglen still getting a couple of games to play as well. I don't know. I think it's just a wee bit too late. I think that wee blip they hit has really hurt them, because they were in a really good position for a period of time. They were top of the league. They'd only lost 5 games. Then before you knew it, they've lost 10.
How much do you think it must pain them? And I know we speak about the fluctuations in this league, but how much do you think it must pain Kendall and his staff when they're maybe sitting talking about going, see that game there, or that game there, that just one game, that was all it was. If they had an extra 3 points, it was sitting with 51 points, and second place would be a real possibility.
It's the 2 biggest words in any league in football. What if?
In saying that, but it's not just one game, it's 10 games.
No, I know.
Do you know what I mean?
I know, but there will be over the course.
There will be one
or two.
Of course.
That.
Could you imagine the Rock in the Premier League and the amount of supporters they're going to bring round with them?
They would, but I don't think they've got the structure to be a Premier League team.
No, look, I think it'd be quite interesting, to be honest.
It would.
It'd be interesting, the crowds they get. But look, we're going to take a quick break, and then Des is going to become the man behind the mic for a wee spell. So we will be right back after these short breaks, all right?
And we're back live, and I'm used to being known as the man behind the whistle, but I'm now the man behind the mic. In fact, when it was, Scott's teacher. Right, so we went through the first division, and we spoke about obviously my beloved Renfrew and hopefully Jimmy getting manager of the year. So we're going to move on to the first division.
Second.
Second division. Okay, I'm just still thinking what
That's
Premier League terms, aren't I?
Des, you've got a big massive head and I've got a really small head.
It's because you're getting the hair.
I've got no hair on it.
To be fair, I've not got much hair, and what I do have is rapidly diminishing. So, for you guys, what's the big game in the second division for you?
Well, there's two for me today. You're looking at obviously a featured fixture, the Ants and Nielsen. You've also got Muirkirk and Cambuslang. I think that in itself is a really big game as well.
No, I totally agree. I just look at the Muirkirk. Had a couple of good results recently as well. At one point, it looked as if they'd maybe kind of thrown it away a wee bit. They'd lost a couple back-to-back games. They also up to Nielsen, get a good result. So looking at Cambuslang, we touched on it a couple of weeks ago, and we can't quite believe that they're sitting where they are at the moment. It's that third bottom at the moment, 4 teams, 26 points. They've obviously Forth have done really well to dig themselves out of that position. They were sitting second bottom at one point as well. So Forth have won the games that we were talking about and dug themselves out, which has put Cambuslang right in the mire. So
we did say that Forth would probably. They were the team that we thought they would have enough about themselves to go and get that points required to get themselves up. So I'm not overly surprised, but they've really leapfrogged, and I think you look at this league table, Yoker need to be careful, because if the Ants get a win today and Yoker don't, then they're in a bit of trouble.
I think Lanark not playing today is going to have a big effect on a lot of teams, because they know, in my opinion, I think Lanark have the team to beat. I think Lanark have the team that's going to go and win it, to be fair.
They've kind of come out of left field as well, Lanark, but as I said, I spoke about it, I was like, I'm bookmarking that. They were a wee bit back, and I kept saying keep an eye on Lanark. They always come strong at the end of the season. Always come strong.
And again, Muirkirk, I mean, obviously today, Cambuslang at home, Cambuslang on really poor on the form. Muirkirk have got 2 games. I mean, you've got 3 teams in the top of the league, all sitting 63 points. Muirkirk, it's a Muirkirk chance to throw it away.
Well, I tell you what, first goal of the game in a featured fixture, Glencairn are going 1-0 up against the Meadow 2 minutes into the game.
That's a old one.
That is not what they are needing at this stage. Early on in the game, it is now 2-1. Sorry, I'm looking at this on
1-0.
1-0. It's just really quick goals.
Really
Really quick
3 goals
goals.
in 4 minutes. What a
That's
game.
why that's 1-0 there. Sorry.
No, just touching what you're saying there, Des, with Muirkirk. Obviously, it's a big game they've got against Cambuslang today. Cambuslang want to stay in the league, but see the last game, it's away to Larkhall, and Larkhall is a tough place to go. They've been taking points off teams around them as well.
We've said this numerous times. Larkhall are always one of these teams that are disruptors, aren't they? They don't always necessarily look for promotion. Not that they're not looking for promotion.
Mhm.
They don't look like they're getting promotion.
Yeah.
But they always take points off the teams that are there around them. Look at one of our picture pictures, St Anthony's and Neilston.
Mm-hmm.
This is in Neilston's hands.
The thing is, the top 4, it's all in their hands.
Mhm.
It's mad that you could say that. Like if Whitlet's win their games, they're up. Lanark win their games, they're up. But the problem you've got is obviously who are Lanark playing, or Muirkirk playing Larkhall, so they're away. But Whitlet's, I think, have got to play Lanark, have they not?
Yeah, final day of the season.
Yeah.
They are playing Lanark.
So that'll be a massive game there. But Neilston, for their point of view, they're maybe hoping there's a draw in that game and they just go and take care of it. But if Neilston win both their games, they're up. So it's really, really interesting. I thought that top 3 was sewn up quite a bit ago. I just thought,
So,
it just depends on what order.
so if Neilston get the result today,
Mm-hmm.
then they're away to Yoka
Yeah.
in the last day of the season.
Yeah.
You potentially get 4 teams playing for 3 spots.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It could go down to goal difference, as you said
So-
as well.
So if I'm going to press you on it,
Mhm.
and this is bear in mind this is our penultimate show of the season. If I'm going to press you on it and you've got £10 left in your bank account, what 3 teams are you going for a treble?
Are you wanting it in order, or are you wanting it
Just who's going up?
Go for order. Go for that.
Aye, all right.
Go
No.
All right, okay, no pressure.
I'll give you an order. I think Lanark will win the league.
I agree.
I think Lanark will scrape by. Given it's such a big game against Whitlets and they're at home, I think Lanark will win it. I think Muirkirk will come second.
So it's down to Whitlets and your old team.
I've got to go with my old team. I've got to say Neilston. I've got to give them it.
Do you know the funny thing is, looking at this, if I had to put money on somebody not making it, it would be Whitlets.
That's what I was thinking.
I mean, you're sitting with a team who are top of the league with 1 game to go, and I would say they'll be the team who will fall at the promotion spots. And it's a 3 promotion spots, not even just a 1 or a 2. It's a 3, and it's.
Do you know what will be agonising? The waiting game as well.
Mhm.
Because if they lose that game to Lanark, they've still got another week to wait to see.
No, they're not playing Lanark today. They're playing next week.
That's what I mean.
That's
That's
right.
next week, sorry. Aye,
So Whitlets have got to wait a week. So we're going to get the result today.
Mhm.
So if Neilston beat the Ants today,
Yeah, they're up to 64.
they're up
So
to
they
64.
leapfrog Whitlets.
Yeah.
If Muirkirk win, they leapfrog the both of them.
Yep.
66.
So Whitlets find themselves in third for that last game against
Do you know
Lanark.
what? I'd probably say. I think Muirkirk will win the league.
You think so?
I think Muirkirk will win the league.
I think Lanark.
I think Lanark as well.
So you think that Muirkirk will drop points today or next week?
I think Larkhall. I think they could drop
I
points
think
there.
I think Larkhall
But
did
Muirkirk need 4 points to win the league,
So
and I think that they'll get
they
the
can
win
get 4.
today, and I think that they'll at least get a point against Larkhall.
Listen, if they get the win today, I think.
If they get the win today,
all
they're
but-
promoted.
Aye.
I mean, they're guaranteed promotion pretty much.
I think Whitlets are the team, and the only reason I'm saying Whitlets, and again, it sounds stupid, a team that's top of the league.
I know.
The fact they've got to go away over to Lanark.
Aye.
I wouldn't listen. If you put Clydebank away to Lanark, it'd be a difficult game.
100%. I just look at at one point Lanark were sitting like 7th or 8th. They've had some second half to the season. The results they've put together have been incredible. The massive turning point for me is they went to the Brig and beat Neilston 2-1.
Yep.
See, after that they've just went from strength to strength to strength.
You also look at the goal difference. Whitlets are on plus 44.
Tight.
Lanark are plus 39. Muirkirk are plus 37, and Neilson are plus 38. So, I mean, it's not just that it's tight in points, it's tight in goal difference. Where,
No.
for talking sake, say, I think the Muirkirk have enough in them to go and take 4 or 5 off a Cambuslang if they catch them today, and that would put them very close to Whitlets in terms of goal difference, and it's so tight. I mean, the fact that this could be very potentially could be decided on goal difference to get promotions. So interesting.
only other thing I'd say is Muirkirk and Lanark are two out of the four there that have not actually been sitting at the top of the league at any point this season. They've always been, because Muirkirk had a lot of games in hand, so they've done really well in the cup competitions. Neilston were hogging that top spot for a long time and then hit a really ropey bit of form. Whitlets have also been top of the league now for the last kind of 3, 4, 5 weeks. So Whitlets and Neilston have actually been in that position of being top of the league, and they might be thinking in the back of their head, listen, maybe get one hand on promotion here, and maybe Neilston took their eye off the ball a wee bit, I don't know. But looking at it, it is so tight. And I was actually thinking about this before I came in today, looking at the goal difference. I was like, these teams are so evenly matched. I don't think we've ever had a kind of race like that where you get 4 different permutations it could happen.
It's the thing is, it could be anybody. That is mad.
I'm just getting a result coming in just now from Liam Callow. There's a goal down at Portland Park.
Oh.
It is Trin 0, Clydebank 1.
Oh, Aaron Black with a goal. Aaron Black with a goal there, so that's a good start. But I think that ends the possibility of second place for Trin, does it?
If it stays that way.
So Trin are sitting 49 points. Yep. So this would pretty much end the possibility for them for second place today, which I think is a good chance that could happen.
What down at the bottom? Do we think obviously Cambus Lang today, as we've just spoken about, in Muirkirk, Yoker are away to 4th. I mean, are we saying that Cambus Lang are gone if they lose this?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
I'd say so, and it's.
And for a team that's sort of big guys at the start of the season, Jordan McMillan.
Crazy.
We've got a goal in our featured fixture in the Premier League. Johnson Borough have taken the lead. That's 1-0 to Johnson Borough against Benburb. So that's could be Benburb get relegated.
That's a lot of pressure.
It's early doors, but
I know.
Looks like I could be losing as well. Greenock opened the scoring 1-0 to Greenock in the featured fixture in the 3rd division. So that's a big one for Greenock as well. And we have touched on it, Des. I know we're just about to go into the 3rd division, but that's a massive goal for Greenock, and it could seal their promotion today.
Yeah, it could. I mean, Ardee are sitting. I listened to Paul's interview with Sean during the week there, in the previous show. Sean's already spoke openly that he's looking for next season. Oh, goal straight away. Bede 1, Hurlford 0.
Look above it. It was an interesting goal in the Premier League.
Oh, straight away. Benburb 1.
Wow.
Borough 1.
So that's what I was thinking when you mentioned the goal there, 1-0 to Borough, and saying how difficult it would be. But well, season mentality, nothing changes. Still need to go win the game.
Do
you know
a draw's not good enough.
Aye, so 1-0 down. Probably lucky. It's so early and you've got all the time. You get another 70 minutes, 75 minutes. You're going.
And we spoke about that with Jamie talking about Meadow.
Yeah.
You can't send the team out looking to go for a draw.
No, I think you said at any point.
You can't do that.
Can
No.
Every time you send a team out, you've got to go out there looking for wins.
I think if you go to look for a draw, you're overly cautious, and then you could end up losing.
100%.
You could lose easier that way.
I don't think that's a mentality for any team. For any manager would really hug deep down, we need to go and you've got to win the game, but you'd maybe accept a draw.
I can honestly say hand in heart, and I'm sure you guys have been the same, that I have never sent a team out to look for a draw.
No chance.
You send a team out to win and go, do you know what? After the game, you might say, I'd have taken that.
Aye. But you can't set up for a draw. How do you set up for a draw?
That's just negative football.
You
isn't
can't.
it?
How do you set up for a draw? But it's not something you coach.
No.
We're going to set up this week because it's no. You always coach us to say we're going to win the game.
Yeah. So going down into the 3rd division then. So the league's obviously wrapped up. Thorn are champions there. So we're now looking at Kilsyth, Greenock, Ardee. Ardee have to win today.
Yeah.
There's absolutely nothing. In fact, Ardee aren't even playing today.
They're playing next
week.
Yeah, they're next week against Fanat.
Yeah. So Fanat just now Greenock and they're 1 down. Fanat been a disappointment this season? Do you think Fanat would accept where they are?
I would say, see if you told me at the very start of the season Fanat would be 8th, I'd have said that's an alright season.
Yeah.
But considering where they were at the start of the season, I know there's a wee bit extra behind the scenes that's maybe, if you knew the story, it paints a bigger picture, and you say, I still think it's been a decent enough season. But based on that start, I think they'd be a wee bit disappointed.
I think so. What I will say is, kind of latter parts of the season, they've really dropped off, and they did bring in a couple of new faces as well. So they were obviously at one point looking over their shoulder, maybe a wee bit worried. So the boys who brought in have obviously brought the points that they need. But I think a mid-table finish for Fanat would probably go down as a decent season for them. to be
I
honest with you.
would say that was respectful.
Yeah.
I think because at the start they had
Mhm.
everybody expecting them to move on.
Yeah.
Greenock obviously getting us up today. They've got their final 2 games. Their final games at home to Luga. You'd expect Greenock to win.
Yeah.
Down at Ravenscraig. I think that the 3 teams at the top of the league are the teams that we're going to see get promoted this season.
I would agree.
I would agree as well. Obviously Threave, but Threave are only, but they've got quite a few games in hand. I know you were talking about Threave quite a lot earlier on,
Yeah.
Paul, saying you kind of fancy them as a wee outside bet to break the top 3. And still potentially could. They've still got 4 games and they're only 5 points off. So
They're at home to Perthshire today.
so I'd fancy Threave to take 3 points as well. So that puts more pressure on Greenock today that they have to get the result as well.
I'd like to think that Gary would have enough now to get the team through this.
You would think so.
And again, that would have been a minimum aim for Greenock at the start of the season, promotion.
Yes.
You even look at Greenock just now, right? They're winning 1-0, so they're currently sitting on 57 points, which is 5 clear of Ardea with 1 game remaining. So that Ardea are out there running.
It's only Threave, isn't it?
Yeah, Threave could potentially be looking at 61 points, but Greenock could be looking at 60 points, and I think that I'd think that Threave. I'm getting myself mixed up with teams. I think that Threave, when you look at the remaining fixtures, they've got Perthshire today, Glasgow United away, which is a tricky one for them.
Yeah.
The Vicks.
Irvine, Vicks, and Vale Eden, they probably get quite the last 2 favourable games, but I still think that there's a potential for them to drop points. And 1 draw, if Greenock can get the 2 wins, 1 draw, that's enough for Greenock.
That's it.
And as you said, they've got favourable draws, but they've got 2 away games midweek against Glasgow United and Irvine Vicks.
Yep.
Threave don't travel well midweek.
No.
It's a long journey.
They don't travel well. Final game, see if it's still to play for at the end of the season and they've got to be leaving at home, yes. But I just think the teams above them, I think Greenock have got enough to get across the line.
So.
They've got Irvine Vicks and Vale Even, who are both gone.
Yeah.
I think the relegation for theirs almost
The
Guaranteed.
relegation
it's done, so that's your 3.
Do you know that probably? Do you know we're talking about favourable games? That probably suits. That probably suits Threave as well, because Glasgow United, if they had to go and win to get something, maybe Threave might make it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they might, because the Perthshire today safe, and it's at home for free. So, Des, for a quiz question, what is the home park of Threave?
I had that the other week then.
You did.
Wait, I'll tell you.
How much?
That just shows you Google's
I know,
questions
it's
there.
absolute farce. And do you know what? We're going to be having the quiz coming up in the next 10 minutes, I'd say. So I'll tell you what, why don't we play the interview from Flemmy? Asked Flemmy yesterday how he was feeling going into the last 2 games and how the boys were feeling about the last 2 games. So this is what Flemmy had to say in it.
Hi Paul, we're feeling very good. Going into the last 2 games, training has had an edge to it this week. Players are looking sharp and at it. I think there's an element of it that the boys want to play. Everybody wants to play in the games that really matter at the end of the season. They're all trying to catch the eye to get in the starting 11, get in the match day squad. So feeling really good going into the weekend. Playing a good Finnart team who beat us 4-1 3 weeks ago. So we need to take the learnings from that and make sure we go up and right that wrong. 2 wins doesn't guarantee us promotion, but what I've been saying to players all week is we need to have a kind of tunnel vision mentality. We need to just, there's no point thinking about the last game of the season if we don't take care of tomorrow. So it's all eyes on Finnart. Do our very best to get 3 points. If we get 3 points, then it means we can lift our heads and look and see what happened elsewhere. We need to put the pressure on Threave and Kilsyth, and and make sure that we get 3 points that takes Ardea out our faces as well. So all to play for. A really exciting week ahead. Starting tomorrow. All the hard runs in June and July, all the turmoil of pre-season, and it's all coming to a head in the final couple of weekends of the season. So really exciting. It's good to be having something to play for, and we're going to go and enjoy it anyway, that's for sure.
Well, can't really ask any more for your manager, can you? He's certainly laid it all on the line. The destiny's in their own hands.
Yeah.
He's taking it back to pre-season, saying all the hard runs, all the work that they've put in, this is what it's coming down to. I would always be, I would rather my destiny is my own hands rather than relying on other teams to do my job for me.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that. So, do you know what? We've all been through the course, and sometimes being in Greenup's position is better, where you know you have to go and win the 2 games, and you know it's not in your hands. But if you win the 2 games, you're putting a lot of pressure on somebody else.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you're Threave and you're sitting there, if you're Danny Dowlinson, you're sitting saying to your players, you win your 4 games. That's it. There's nothing that anybody else can do. This is purely on us. But does that add a bit of extra pressure?
That's your team talk, isn't it? That's your team talk. Before that team's out, this is on you now. I've done everything I can. We've trained you, we've prepared you, we've set you up how we're going to go.
Yep.
You get 4 games. It's up to you what you make of it now.
Yeah. I mean, it could seem a long way away, but 4 games in the grand scheme of a 30-game season isn't that much.
No.
So you're hoping that they can put that run together again and see them over the line. But it's interesting you came they're getting into the last game with so many promotion spots across the leagues.
Have we ever seen the leagues this open?
Aye.
Not that I can remember, particularly when you're looking at like the fact that you get quite a few teams sitting in the promotion spots, and it could be 3 teams that could be in or out, and it's so interesting in that sense.
Well, just another goal flash, and another one that's going to have massive consequences at either side of this first division. Glencairn are now 2-0 up against Meadow.
And we've also got a second goal for Clydebank. Your man Lee Gallagher has scored.
Brilliant play.
I know you're a fan of Lee Gallagher, so you know when I ask you who scored, but your man Lee Gallagher's going to go there. I know you really rate Lee.
I think he's a fantastic player. I was doing some work a while ago. He was always a player that just seems so controlled. This year it just seems to have clicked for him. He looks a bit fitter, looks a bit sharper, but that left foot he's got.
What I would say about Lee, and I think that Bilbo Lee McGonigal falls into the same category, is they're both small guys, but they've both got a bit about them. They've got a bit of grit and determination about them, and add that in with good quality. I think that Lee is a cracker, to be fair. I think he's a really good player and an instrumental part. Maybe not quite as... We've spoken a lot at length of Leishman, Syme, Nicky Little, Dean Cairns, Nicky Lowe. Spoke at length and Keir Sampson and stuff. We spoke at length about guys like that. But I think Lee falls into that category for them.
See, when you read through the guys that you've just mentioned there, you're not even talking about Oisin McHugh.
I know.
You're not even talking about Davy Syme.
No.
You just look in Big Matt Niven, who is, I mean, what a squad, Moss. And it's not a team that's been put together for this year. It's a team that's been built and added to.
Yeah, definitely, and it is. But he's a good player. He's a good player. Of couple of goals at the Drumchapel Cumnock game. Cumnock went 1-0 up pretty early on. Drumchapel fired back. That makes it 1-1 in that game. I think that I know we're kind of going off for the featured fixtures. I think that Cumnock, they should be really happy with the end of their season. They've had a really good end to the season.
Yeah, to the words out of the mouth. If you never touched on it, I was going to say the same thing. But we were talking at one point that they really had to be careful. They were going to get dragged into things along with Hurlford. They were kind of toiling a wee bit, but they finished quite strong.
Yeah.
I think that what's Swifty inherited at the start of the season and the team that he's rebuilt, because it's a massive rebuilding process that Swifty's went through. I think this was a consolidation year. Now, I know the committee wouldn't have been looking at it because I know they've obviously put quite substantial sums into it, and I know some people who are involved down there. But I think that Swifty, and we all heard during the season that potentially him and Straney were...
Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah.
Him and Straney were potentially going to Pollock and potentially going to another club. Swifty's not really a social media person, and he's been about his business, and I know he's had a lot of off-field stuff where he's creating his own business. I would say that this is a really good a good season for Cumnock.
Yeah.
And I would expect Cumnock to be substantially higher next season.
I think that the bar's been set a wee bit based on the second half of the season. I think that Swifty, and I was quite critical of him. I think the finances they have at their disposal, the players that they have at their disposal, it was a really, really bad start to the season, first half of the season. Second half of the season, though, all credit to him. I'll eat my words for the first half, but I believe they were right. They were right at the time. But the second half of the season, he's done a tremendous job, and I really think they can be pleased with it.
I think that's the next natural step for Cumnock as well, to try and move on. So can we kind of try and get into that top 3-4? The last couple of seasons, they've been mid-table. And the surprising thing is...
Mid to bottom.
Aye, and I always seem to remember something that sticks, and I'm looking at it again. Our goals for and our goals against for the last couple of years are almost identical in terms of they've only scored, they've got a +3 goal difference. It always seems to be that.
It's very tight.
So I don't know if we need to do a wee bit more work in terms of if they can keep it a wee bit tighter at the back and bring somebody in that can maybe get a couple more goals from. I would think that would make a massive difference.
I think going forward, he'll be able to entice more players now because he's a bit. What did we say also about stability and continuity? I think he'll now attract other players.
And how much easier is it when they've lost one in the last 9?
Aye.
How much easier it to say to players, look, I had a bad start to the season, but we've sort of said we lost one game in the last 10 in the season. We went through near a third of the season without losing. We're on the up. Come to us. There's a bit of money here. This is a place that's on the up.
100%. You're hoping they just pick up where they've left off.
I can see if you look at the table. If you look at the table as of just now, I would expect coming up next year to comfortably be inside that top 5.
I think you'll be right. Big goal in our featured fixture in the second division. St Anthony's 0, Nielsen 1, Connor McCabe with the goal. In the fourth division, I know we're just about to move on to Des. Featured fixture, St Peters have just taken the lead against Kello and opened the door potentially for Easterhouse to potentially nick it in the last day of the season. It's really, really interesting. Baylor Clyde 2-0 up against Kilbirnie. Beath being 1-0 up against Hurlford are now 2-1 down. 2-1 down. So
that just sums up Beath's season.
They've been really disappointing in the second half of the season, Beath. It really stood out to me.
I'm going to make a bold prediction, and it's not something I say lightly. I don't think that Sean will be the manager of Beath next season.
I would tend to agree with you there.
It's been really poor.
Largs and Darvel are drawn 1-1 at the moment, so that's 1-1 with Largs and Darvel. But I tend to agree with you. I think that Sean probably, we could be completely wrong.
I hope I'm wrong. Sean's a lovely guy. I think Beath had to make the appointment to put, as we said, continuity, solidity. I just think that I just don't know.
It's just not went well.
It's just not happened. It's just not happened.
I mean, the fact you could be looking at Beath potentially finished 11th.
That's
after back-to-back
winning
titles. That's quite worrying, to be honest with you. But
so, are we getting close to that time, guys?
Well, we've still got fourth division to go, and then we'll go. I think we'll quickly touch on the fourth, go to a break, and then we'll get Desi's quiz on and go.
So, fourth division, Knightswood wrapped up, champions, well deserved. Port Glasgow promotion, well deserved. Down to it.
Technically, Knightswood have not won the league.
No.
Well,
I don't see them not winning the league. But you look at Eglinton during the week, go and get a really good result. They've got Knightswood the final day of the season. Can there be a wee cat amongst the pigeons if the Port get a win today?
I don't know.
There could be.
Aye.
But
probably not.
Probably not.
Probably not. I would tend to agree.
Eglinton have had a couple of big results this season as well.
So,
again, are these
perennial disruptors?
Could be.
There's Eglinton, Royal Albert.
Yeah.
I'd even throw Carluke in there
100%.
And say that these teams are types of teams that could go and shock you and could give you a really tough game. And I think that I still fancy Knightswood to win it. And I think that the basis of the fact they beat the Port twice, they deserve it.
Yeah.
But if the Port win today, their goal difference is far superior.
Yeah.
There's a wee outside chance, that they could pick it.
It's that old, they just need a draw statement again, isn't it? Knightswood, I'm just set up for a draw.
Aye, but Michael Penders will not be putting any
No.
team out for a draw.
No
That's,
chance.
that's
You can ask him that next week, Des.
Aye.
You're going to go for the draw, you're going to go for the win.
Aye, well, they're not playing today, so obviously. Eglinton at Killook, Saltcoats at Easterhouse. I would anticipate Easterhouse winning that one.
Mhm.
I don't think there's going to be terribly much bother in that. Kello St Piers 1-0 up. That's a big score for them. As you said, you watched them during the meeting, you were impressed by them.
Listen, it's a strange one because Kenny, wasn't he? Do you know? So am I not seeing something here? Like, obviously, they've put together better performances, but I thought the first half hour against Renfrew, they should have been 2-3 up. But I said, Hall Wilson, can you believe it was playing? Pulls off 2 or 3 great saves, and it's just decision making at that point. But again, you take it with a pinch of salt. It is a friendly. When Renfrew get their opportunity, they scored. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know what the actual result was, but it was 1 each when I left after 60 minutes, and it was a decent enough game. And I thought St Peters really held their own, created chances. But
Just looking at some results coming in just now, that's now Hurlford 2-1 up. So let's. They got 2-1 up at 2-1 up at Beeve.
Mhm.
Clydebank again, just seeing results coming in. Clydebank have got the better of each half. Moff has been in charge, but we've just signed 7 players and 3 on loan this season.
Well, there you go. I mean, they do constantly improve. Just before we go in the break, the Ants have equalised against Nielsen.
Wow.
So that's 1-1 with the Ants
So
and
this-
Nielsen.
And this could be Nielsen.
that's
Just
a massive pressure.
Steve have just gone ahead. It's that man again. Ross Irvin has put 3-1 up against Glasgow Persia.
How many goals has he scored this season?
I don't know, him, Harry Officer and Craney have scored quite a few goals between them, and it's see when you've got goals coming from all over the place, it's massively impressive.
And I'm sure teams would be looking at them, but the difference
Yeah.
is just
Getting
geography.
them, exactly.
How you
Exactly.
get them there.
I think if that Neilston game stays at 1 each, that's going to be the biggest team talk of Andy Whiteford's season
Yeah,
at half time.
it'll be interesting. Well, listen, guys, we're just coming to the next break in the show, so we're just going to take a wee break and go for some adverts. And we're back after those lovely Tobias's dulcet tones. Right, okay, I've been getting a hard time saying I'm making it easy, I'm making it hard. Guys, I've he's sulking off next week for, I don't know, is it some daughter's thing? Is that a memorable moment? No, I'm sorry, Anna, it's your day, so of course you can have your dad. So we're about to go. Are we?
I'm just having a wee issue with the camera. This is something you'll need to accept for next week. Might happen, but it's all right. There you go. There's there. So just keep talking.
I'd be quite happy with the camera off, mate, to be fair.
And there we go. Right. So
Right,
just keep,
go and get your seat ready. Scott, it's normally you and me,
Yeah.
right? And I'm still going to keep it with you and me, or do I need to turn it over to used to? Is it used to against me for this? Well, it's always
against you. It's always against you.
Keep it the
See,
same.
because you change seats, you think you change personality. Wednesday is, let's get it from the host family fortunes. Come on.
You've got to keep it the same. I think.
Aye,
Right.
it says against you.
Continuity.
Before we start though, Des, see if there is any absolute drivel that you're pulling out
No,
this week like
there's
you
not.
did last week,
No,
then I believe
That's a
that's an
point
automatic
for us.
win.
Aye, an
no,
automatic
no,
point.
no. Guys, what I will say, right, we're off football people, right?
Mhm.
Lateral thinking. That's all I'm saying. Think
I
lateral.
don't even know what that means. Right.
Okay, so guys, it's time for there you go. Makes me actually feel.
So you could call that in a bar. You know what I mean?
I think so. We did. Right. Okay. Easy one to start off with. You
Right.
ready?
Mm-hmm.
Which West of Scotland team won the Scottish Junior Cup in 2017?
See,
I know.
don't get me wrong.
It's not a
Completely, completely legit question.
Yeah.
I just struggle with these ones. I feel as you get older, years just merge together.
So who's the most recent Wales? And you've had Talbot. You've had
With Talbot just been easy one to say.
probably so no with Talbot.
Who knows?
No with Talbot.
Oh,
I told you I made it easy for you.
Maybe double bluffing this.
Aye. Never overthinking things now,
Mhm.
and he's made it dead easy. Well, no with Talbot,
So-
surely. You've had who else has won it then? You had Glenafton won it. At least in that kind of period as well, didn't
Mm-hmm. I was, see if as I was here,
they? Mm-hmm.
because I'm sure he was part of the Glenafton team that won it, and I don't know if it was that year.
It does seem about the right time. Because,
Des has the benefit as well. The comments coming in this week,
aye.
I can't see them,
Something
so
like
it's just Des that's going to see the comments this week.
Right, I'm looking for the comments here.
So just the top of the screen, left hand, right hand side.
Right there.
just hang fire to Google it.
Right,
No,
okay.
so who's won it recently? So Glenafton, Talbot have won it a good few times, obviously.
Cumnock won it a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
but that was like
Beeve won it.
Beeve.
a
Did
few
Beeve win it?
times. Aye, I'm sure Beeve won it. Don't know.
I don't know.
Don't know. I thought sometimes.
See if I had to guess.
I remember Dan Christie going in the cup final for Beef.
Really?
Maybe they get beat. Oh no!
Do you know what I would? Did Hurlford win it?
I'm sure Huddersfield won the final with
Oh,
Glenafton that
no,
year, weren't they?
his comments.
Should be go into the Chrome for. We apologise. Des is learning the ropes since we'll get next week's show with it. Me. Go to Chrome at the bottom. Go into your comments at the top right hand side. You get it?
I think Glenafton's a decent shout. Or Beef, one or two.
No, okay, comments.
So we've got a few comments.
So I remember.
Oh, so we've got a couple of comments in. Not all agreeing with you. Toby's just come in with one.
I remember I left Nielsen in 2015. Dan Christie went to Bees. I'm sure they won the league, and I'm sure he got to the cup final in Bees as well. When about that time, but I remember him scoring. But then I'm like, it's either them or Glenafton. I think, but probably maybe Talbot.
See, I think the Talbot, to be honest with you. But what do you think?
Liam's come in with a comment.
Something's saying Glenafton to me, but
You
I'll
go to
probably wrong.
Glenafton. What's the answer?
One after.
Yes, my man. Yes.
Okay. Toby, I'm giving
Beautiful, beautiful. Well done.
Okay, I'm giving it easier. Okay.
That wasn't easy.
Okay. Which Division 3 team have won and drawn the same amount of games that they've lost?
I'm just going to put the league on there just to give now.
One and
One
drawn
and
the
one.
same. Well, it was a
So
flop.
they've won 7, they've drawn 7, and they've lost 14.
Oh, right. Okay. Okay.
1-7, drawn 7.
Okay, so that's what, 21, 28 points. So that's down the bottom end of the table. Third division.
Excuse me. Could be Yoker. I'm sure Yoker on 28 points.
I thought do you know what my thinking was with Yoker? Was
Mhm.
8 wins and 4 draws.
8 wins and 4 draws.
I don't know why that came into my head, and that would be
Who else is running about there? There's 4th, Yoker,
um,
Canvas Lang on 26 or something like that. Obviously.
no, that's the second. It would-
Man, the
it was
rank
third division.
Third division?
Third division.
I'm
So
the
I think it's
rank,
Glasgow United.
Yeah, I'm the wrong league here.
I wonder
So
if that is Glasgow United.
it might be United because they're sitting Perthshire are doing that way as well.
They've won 8. I know they've won 8. I'm sure. Yeah.
Right, okay. So who's going to Premier League? Vale Even,
Vale Even are
Vicks
gone.
and Wishaw.
Wishaw and Urban Vicks, yeah.
So it's running about that Glasgow Uni mark, no Glasgow United mark in it. It's running about there.
I know.
I
Who
don't
else is
think
there?
it's
You've
them.
got Glasgow United. Perthshire are a wee bit ahead of that.
At the 10th or something like that.
Who else is in there?
Vale Even are gone. I'm sure they're on 26 points.
Sorry, guys,
Vale Even.
I've made a mess. It's the second division.
Oh!
Kim now. He's up to it again.
I thought
He's had us gone. We're away thinking about something, and then
It's the
he's
second division. My apologies, viewers.
see because you get the first one right, totally frozen.
he's gone into his can't cheat us.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
At least there's a bit of honesty if you for a
Exactly.
change.
My first thought was Joker. I'm certain they're on 28 points, but I might be wrong. But who's near them? Fourth have got a couple of results recently as well.
Yeah. Do you know fourth might be a shout?
I don't think a fourth. I'm no 1-7. I think.
I think that might be a shout.
Is it 7,
7, 7 and 14.
7,
7,
14? I think it's fourth.
I think it's fourth. We'll go with fourth.
It was Joker.
Oh!
Gutter.
Right, so let me just.
Hit the post,
I
man.
know.
Right, so
It's hit the post, roll down the line, and hit the other post and came out.
No.
Right.
Listen, don't say that. I never we played Clydebank the Cup and the ball hit the post for the penalty shootout. Hit that post, man.
Oh.
Okay, so next question.
That is it.
Willie Shearer and Dougie Taylor are co-managers of which team?
Eglinton.
There you go.
Boom.
Told you I've made it
Boom.
easy for you this week. Right, so that's an X for me. Which West of Scotland football team did former Rangers manager Walter Smith play for?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good one.
Oh, do you know this?
You have the nose that
I
is
know
blue,
this.
Scott. You should know this.
Which West of Ashfield?
Correct.
Oh, yes, he's on fire. Beautiful.
Can't believe I'm
Beautiful.
getting beat here. Right. Okay. I'm going to come back in here, hopefully.
Which
Well-
shoe size?
Which current West of Scotland Premier League player
Yep.
has the following journey before becoming a junior player? of
Milk.
West of Scotland.
Uh-huh.
Hearts,
Right.
to Hibs, to Raith Rovers, to East Fife, to Cowdenbeath, to
Still playing.
he's still playing.
Slowly dropping down the ladder there.
So Hearts,
Hearts,
Hibs.
Hibs,
Raith Rovers,
Cowdenbeath,
Cowdenbeath.
East Fife. He likes his East Coast, doesn't he?
Plays for Johnson Borough though. Am I right?
Does he?
Does he?
Hibs, Hearts, Cowdenbeath, East Fife.
No. Did Caldwell play for? Did he move back up to Scotland? Did he not play for Hearts? So Ross Caldwell played for. No, because he was at Blantyre as well.
I'll struggle with this one.
He was at Blantyre as well.
Um,
Can we get an age bracket roughly?
No.
Okay.
sounds like he's for East Coast anyway. Hibs, Hearts, East Fife, Cowdenbeath, Raith Rovers.
So it's Hearts, Hibs, Raith Rovers, East Fife, Cowdenbeath,
Mm,
and then came to the West of Scotland.
I think you've got us on this one. That's
I'm struggling with this.
I think
This
it's
is the one I thought they've got, actually.
Hearts and Hibs. Hearts and Hibs.
I know.
That's what I'm trying with that stand out.
Was it a first team player at Hearts? Hibs?
Aye.
Right, okay.
He was our first team player at Hearts.
Have we got anybody in the comments with this one? This seems
By the way, Liam Callow.
he's firing today.
Aye, he's
Aye,
good.
it's on the Google.
Liam, you're straight in there.
Liam Google.
You think?
Trying. Hearts, Hibs.
Tell you this, if I'm going to a quiz, I'm bringing Liam with me.
He's a knowledgeable man. I know I'm throwing this because it's so East Coasty then to be here.
Mhm.
I don't know. Be happy to concede.
Right, so that's 1, 2, 3 I've lost, 1, 2 I've got right. The answer is Liam, you're correct. It's Fraser Mullen.
Oh, prize. Did not know that.
Near the dark.
That would have been miles away. That never would have got
Right, and here is my lateral thinking
that.
question.
No, here we go.
Right on the three.
Right on it. On
Okay.
it.
Okay, so which West of Scotland team could easily play at Shaftesbury Avenue in London?
Oh, right, okay. Do you know what? See, now that we know this is a
You're
different
gonna
type
get
of
that.
question, I probably won't, right? But, all right, now that we know, your Shyster question was done last week. Right, so could you read that again, please, Des?
So which West of Scotland team could easily play at Shaftesbury Avenue in London?
Shaftesbury Avenue, does that mean anything to you? No. It's Shaftesbury Avenue.
In London.
Which West of Scotland team could easily play there?
Trying to think my field.
I know. What's a name that maybe means some?
I think.
Aye, I think the lateral thing's apparently not a strong suit of mine.
Just think about it.
Shaftesbury.
London.
Then
I'm sure Liam could come in with this one. I know it help us, Liam.
By London, but
maybe Liam's not a lateral thinker either. I mean, Des, did you finish school, Scott?
aye,
Did you?
26 years, right?
No, I didn't finish school, to be honest with
The only subject he turned up to was PE.
you.
Stayed there for PE.
Scott, you wanted to see Disney shots.
I remember one period him and Andy Halliday turned up and I'm like, you've not got PE this period, what are you meant to be?
RE.
RE.
That was a regular thing, though. That's
To
been on.
be fair, Mr. Morris was doing PE at the same
Aye,
time.
Mr. Steams used to let us do it, double period.
Aye, just to get an idea.
Do it. Aye, no.
I used to dog PE. I used to dog other subjects at PE.
Shaftesbury Avenue. Right, we're timing out, Des. I think you've got us on
Right,
this.
okay, so what is Shaftesbury Avenue in London known as?
I don't know.
Right, am I taking the win on this one here?
You've got a win on
Right,
this.
okay, right, so let's work out. Let's do
Right,
the last.
okay.
Right, so Shaftesbury Avenue. Why would you go to Shaftesbury Avenue, London? To go to the theatre. It's the
Right,
theatre district of London.
okay.
Right. So if you're going to the
Go
theatre,
slowly, Wiz. Aye, go slowly,
if
see
you're
what
going
you're
to the
going to get.
theatre,
Right.
what are you going to have? What are you going to?
Show Park,
Show part.
East Kilbride.
Kilbride.
Thank you.
Well done. Okay, I didn't know. I had heard of Shaftesbury Avenue, just didn't know.
It's the theatre district
Right.
of London.
Show Park. Okay, fair enough. Now we know the ground rules.
I was thinking to Lathrow again. I'm like, how could they play them?
Well,
How could they play?
And they also, Shaftesbury, Barnet Harriers in my old days wore black and white stripes. East Kilbride.
oh well, see that's we can't take in for that.
No, I'm not.
That-
I didn't go down the athletics route.
But-
Shaftesbury Avenue, you go for the theatre, you go into a show.
Show
Show
Park.
Park.
Right. Okay. Fair enough.
So we're taking the each there.
I'm not having that.
Right.
I'm not having that, man.
See, to be honest, we've got to get a couple of gimmies thrown in
Aye.
when you're getting that
I've
because
gave you a couple of gimmies.
they're only gimmies if we get them.
Listen, you've asked in the big. Did you say the?
No many
the-
people that go Waltersmith.
No.
No, it was good. That was good.
No.
It's only because I played about 4 games for that.
Uh,
No, I'm kidding. I'm ready.
It's the only book that's read in his life.
You're going to give me a hard time
there
here, man.
was a picture of a minute where a shield strip on.
Aye.
So let's just look at the comments. To be fair, Liam said that question just went over my head.
Aye.
So any results coming forward? You anything?
But I've not even been looking, Des. I'm too focused on the quiz. Is that us done?
Anyway.
That's us done.
Is that us?
That's us.
I thought you said with 7
Oh.
questions.
That's a draw. We've got to have a ultimate week. Know that you've got to have a
I think come up one off the top of my
Des.
I'll come up with a decider
20
between
days. Just give us a yoker and we'll take the win, eh?
No.
We'll do it. So we're on a draw this week. That's fine.
We're on a
Des,
draw.
can you do me a favour? See on the right screen, you have the WhatsApp in the left hand corner.
Yep.
Right, go up to the search bar, click on it, and start typing Johnny. Then we need you to phone Johnny, and then we'll get a wee update. Johnny is at the Maple game for us.
No sure that Johnny we're going to get a hold of it. Could be anything.
So is it
We'll hit the voice call.
voice call and then turn the dial at the bottom right corner? Oops. Oh, we're still going. Keep them.
Okay, what we're looking for. The bottom one.
Yeah, is it call? You need to call him. You know, phoning him. So the top right hand side there, call that.
So showing your dad how to do the fire remote.
Your Des, put yours up. No, keep it down.
Hello.
Johnny, how you doing? It's Des.
Put it down. Put it down.
Not bad. Not bad. How's the?
When you talk, put it up. When he talks, put it down.
Okay. Hey, I'm just getting shown how to work a desk here ahead of you and me next week, Johnny. So how's the game going?
I think St Rocks have probably been a better team without creating much. There's not really been much in the way of chances. It's a beautiful summer's day. I say, believe it or not, with what Mabel's got at stake, it probably feels a bit more like a kind of pre-season game almost, rather than a kind of relegation dogfight, if that makes sense. But nice day.
Well, we spoke about it before. We thought this game would be quite competitive. We didn't think there was going to be much silky football played down there. St Rocks have got a lot to play for. Maybole have got a lot to play for. If you were going to pick a winner, or can you see a winner, or do you think it's just going to play itself out?
I would say on the basis of the first half, St Rocks would probably look the more likely team to win the game, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's a draw. To be honest, I can see it being a kind of even Steven, which doesn't really help either team. But I think if there is going to be a winner, I can see it been a 1-0 either way, but on the basis of the first half, I'd say I fancy St Rocks to go on and win the game.
Okay, well, what we'll do is we'll check in with you at the end of the match and just to see how it's going. Thanks a lot, Johnny.
Hope the picture's suiting you well. Hope you're enjoying it. I'll see you next week, okay?
Okay, mate, I'll see you next week. Take care.
Bye.
Well, I think it's pretty much as we predicted. It wasn't going to be a fancy affair.
Nah, I think that no, not at half time. It sounds like it's quite interesting with Johnny saying that it's because the weather's good and stuff. It seems almost like a pre-season friendly, which is it's a bit disappointing considering.
I think as a point for Maybell, that's it. I think that's it done. You know, because even if they win and whatever medal, it's a goal difference for me.
Other medal are now 3-0 down.
Even at that, if it's that today, then we're getting into next week and Maybell are still 29 of medal 33. Obviously, that's it done today. So they need to win. Maybell, neither one.
I'm just looking at some of the comments coming in here live on YouTube. Peasy, I think me and you are going to fall out. He's just said sack Des for that question.
Aye, for sure.
Well, I tell you what, I don't think that Peasy, I'll back my mate Des for a second before I slap him right back down. I would say that one's not as bad because we knew that it was something a bit different. I think that last week we'll go with me to the grave. I think that was an absolute disgrace.
Well, guys,
I think that's worse.
Do you think so?
Aye, how can you call East Kilbride to London?
Do you know what I think?
Do you know what I mean?
That was probably the most middle class question you'll ever get in this show.
Aye, that was a strange one. I thought the last one straight away last week. I said it must
that's
be
the
the name of
first
a
time
park.
in my life you insinuating I'm middle class. I'm for Renfrew.
But Des, where do you live now? You're middle class. You're one of us saying you're considerably better than you are.
Listen, I'll tell you what. I'll be consistent next season. I will always try and throw in something that broadens our horizons, broadens our knowledge.
That's it.
Listen, we've always got to have an education in this.
I liked last week's one. I've got to admit, I thought that wasn't too bad. I thought there was.
No, I
thought that one.
Do you know? See the thing. No, do you know? See if last week's question was today. If it had been last week's question and the way it was explained, then I think it'd have been a decent enough question. So going forward, I think they're all right questions. Now I've accepted them.
No, I'm not accepting that today.
Think so?
I thought that was just wild.
As middle class, mate. I think we should maybe look at something less pretentious next time.
What you're going to ask you, what you get up the road and you're going to try and expand your knowledge of junior football and Western Scotland football. That's what you've got to do.
No, it's the knowledge of Western Scotland football. That's not too bad. I think that
Listen, I gave you a couple of gimmies in there.
What was the gimmies?
You try to diminish my
Glenafton.
knowledge.
That was not a gimme.
Was that a gimme?
2017, Dan Henderson, manager of Glenafton.
How's that a gimme?
That's a gimme.
You said it was 2016.
2017.
I thought you said 16.
Lucky you got
So you got it right. Well,
wrong.
That's not a gimme.
So I was only a year.
okay, the Eglinton managers.
That's pretty easy. That's pretty easy.
The Yoker one isn't really a gimme unless you're studying the leagues.
Is that not what we're meant to do?
No, but look how close. Right, so with the Yoker one, right, we're looking at
Listen, I'm not getting involved. I was right. Just saying.
Right, okay.
Just saying, Paul.
I know, apologies. Fourth but 8 and 5, Yoker 7 and 7. So I was got them mixed up.
I knew they 28. Because see, when you said the points, I was like, Yoker got 28. I'm sure we got 28. So it's your fault.
That's my fault. Or if we could put another spin on it and say that you have absolutely no backbone and didn't push it through.
Didn't push it through.
But look, we're not turning each other teammates.
I'm just trying to be
You were excellent this week. You helped me this week.
Exactly.
You were the stronger of the duo.
Right, so as we're carrying on, I'm just trying to see if there's any other score results coming through. Can you update us with anything?
We're obviously getting half-time results in. 1-0 to Thrieve at half-time against Perthshire.
Good result.
Glenvale 1-0 up against the Thorn in the Renfrewshire derby. 2-2 with Beath and Hurlford. A late goal from Beath. I think it was Carlo Monti who goal there. Arthurlie, as it stands, league champions 1-0 up against Petershill. Drumchapel with 2 late goals in the first half, make it 3-1. Glenafton 1-0 up against Pollock at half time.
So I'm just getting stuff through here as well. Muirkirk 0, Cambuslang 1.
Oh wow, that's a big one.
I'm now actually just getting to realise how what these
just takes a bit of time. Takes a bit of time. That's it.
Takes a wee bit of time. Gav Anderson coming through at half time. It is 2-0 for Greenock. Ryan Cinnamon converting a penalty.
Really interesting result from no really interesting result. I'm making that seem as if it's much bigger and more important than it really is. But New Mains, after getting that 0-0 draw last week with the other week there with a Port. They are currently 3-0 up, which I think that they're showing a wee bit of maybe fight at the end of the season.
Here's what they're doing.
No, I'm looking for the news. See, I'm on Dez's computer, so this is for anybody listening and watching. Me and Des have made the change, and it's nice to see Des. It's not just you. That is,
Scott knows how to work it.
it's not just you.
Messing everything up, man. My feng shui is out.
It's because, it's
Fourth
because
division's already open.
no, but I didn't want the I wanted the fixtures.
Aye, didn't
3-0 against Campbelltown. It's not as impressive as I thought it was going to be. Sorry, I've went there for absolutely no reason.
see, you
but-
make it easier. Go into division.
I know that's how
quick on the team.
I know that's how it works. But see, in my computer, I have the first one is every fixture for the day.
Right.
Then I have the Premier League, First Division, Second, Third,
Listen,
Fourth.
don't you get your system, Scott and I have got our
Do you know
system.
what it is? Your computer's too middle class for him.
That's
what it is.
There you go. That's what I was looking for right there.
That computer runs steam engine.
So
I'm just getting a text through here just now. Tony Andrew, maybe not a great result for you, Paul. It's Rossville, Port Glasgow still 0-0 at half time.
I don't know what's going on with Port.
Josh has obviously got Rossville on fire.
Aye, he's not read the memo, is it?
No,
He's not been happy.
The Port, I think the Port have maybe just settled for promotion, and that seems to be it.
and is that
Disappointing?
I was about to say, is that enough for you settling?
No.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's necessarily the case. They could end
Listen,
up
to be
going
fair, I don't think Tam will have him settled. I think Tam,
No, but-
I think Tam will get in there at half time, and I think there'll be a few. Because Rossville are on a poor run of form. If,
Yeah.
if Port Vale are going to get it's Port Vale.
Oh,
If Port Glasgow are going to get the result away from home, this is one they would fancy.
I definitely, and it's they're promoted. That was the ultimate aim, and that's
Yeah.
and Knights would have been worthy winners if they can go and win it because
Yeah.
they've beaten the Port twice.
Mhm.
Darvel 2-1 up at half time against Largs. I wonder if Largs are Largs
Get
resting
nice
bodies,
somewhere else.
but see at the same time, can they afford to do that with back-to-back defeats? Get into a big game like that. It's whether the Borough turn around. East Kilbride and Gifford 1-1 at half time, 1-1 with the Ants at half time, 1-1 with Benburb and Johnson Borough at half time. In the First Division, a late kick-off, Ashfield and Rob Roy. Ashfield were 1-0 up, now
Yeah.
1-1. Rob Roy managed to pull a goal back.
That
so
is really surprising because if it been disrespectful, Ashfield have been
Battered
really
recently.
all season. And it's not a good result for Rob Roy, that.
no, I'd say it's a pretty poor result for Rob Roy.
Also, it's a long time to go, do you know what I mean? But at half time, I'd expected Rob Roy to get a couple of goals up there.
Should we maybe try and give Mark a call, see how he's feeling at the medal game at
If
Gartner?
Mark's ready to go, you give him a call, Des.
For funny seat now, isn't he?
He's now in a position where he's getting to grips with it. He's got another hour in charge, and then I'll take over for the final hour again.
Better
My
than-
last hour of the season.
There you go.
I know.
Give Mark a call. Let's see if he's willing to take it.
Take yours to this.
I think maybe given the current result, Mark's maybe a little bit busy and there's stuff going on that have a medal dressing room. What do you think Jamie will be feeling at this moment in time?
Furious.
Aye.
Absolutely furious. I can only imagine him being bitterly disappointed. Now, this is me saying this without seeing the game.
Yeah.
But you're thinking
Game's
3-0 down at half time,
Oh,
game's dead.
sorry, there's a wee call coming
done.
in. Mark, it's Des. How are you? Yeah, I'm okay. How's the? We also see the result, but how's the game going?
The game's been fairly even, to be fair. It's just a good case of the couple of chances we haven't. Couple of saves. We've had a goal disallowed somehow for offside, but you know me, I'm always at the side of the park with my phone in my hand and I can't see who's offside. But as it stands, we're 3-0 down and like 45 coming up.
It's a massive 45, particularly given that the Maybole game just now is still sitting 0-0. So I'm sure Jamie. I mean, is Jamie getting his message across to the players? Is it just not happening for Meadow at this moment in time?
You still up?
Yeah, we're still here, mate.
Oh, you've dropped. Your mic's not on. Go to my mic. That's. Sorry, Mark. Can you hear me? No, just cut my filters up.
Yeah, it's dropped off there, unfortunately.
Oh,
It's coming back to it.
Chaos.
Chaos happening all over the place.
Hi, Marky. Sorry, you dropped off there, mate.
Just call it cancel. Just talk.
Tease it. That's it.
I tease out for some reason. Sorry, guys, that just wasn't connecting. But I'm sure we'll try and get hold of Mark before the end of the game.
Kind of got the gist there, what he was trying to say as well. But that's I've seen to Paul, just also wrote it down, didn't want to interrupt him. But seems to be the same story again for Irvine Meadow, with other teams taking their chances and we haven't. I remember listening to Jamie talking about the Arsenal game and how they competed in that game, and it was a case of Arsenal took their chances, we didn't. So that's also a real problem for them. They've not really got a problem scoring goals though. They've scored 46 goals, but maybe it's these big crunch games. They're just
They're playing against a better team as well.
Well,
Let's be honest.
100%.
It's a better team they're playing.
Yeah, listen, we're coming down to the last 2 or 3 games of the season. League positions don't lie. We've said that about teams looking for promotion, teams looking at relegation. Listen, where we are. But guys, we're just hitting 3 o'clock. We're just about to start the second halves, and it's probably about wee time we had a wee word from our sponsors.
It was your mic. It was cutting
That was mine, it was cutting off. But I'm now getting to visualise it. The thing is, the bit for me now, that she's gave me this, you need to watch that to then come back to something else. So they need that time for you guys to talk and go, right, I'm seeing stuff coming in. That's me just getting there going, oh, right, that's the WhatsApp coming, because I always thought that was coming through your phone.
It does. It comes through in this phone.
Connected to your
Back
computer.
it's connected to the computer, so I look at both. See if I'm texting, I
So
text.
is that the studio phone?
Right. So I text on this phone, but we don't that.
Aye, so it's WhatsApp web, but you can
Aye.
connect up.
Right, Marty just came back there saying I can hear the connection, but can't hear.
Whether it be tires, brakes, exhaust, wheel alignment,
Do you know
or even
that'll probably bring last week's result with Jimmy into focus now, where it was almost like I forget about it, move on, but see, given this convincing 3-0, and that's 7 goals in the last 2 weeks.
Getting people plans for midweek.
Aye, that's what it brings that back into focus now. You're just like,
Because you can accept that today,
Aye.
in a sense.
aye, but there's no reaction there.
Welcome back, guys, after that short break. Remember, we're all the 3 of us are here for you to have a chat to, and you can contact us on WhatsApp on 07936 717 412 or via WhatsApp or Twitter at SatFootballLive. Again, we just want to thank our sponsors. We've got VSN Sports. If you're looking for any bespoke sportswear, give our Gary a call. And again, we're indebted to Roxburgh Insurance Brokers, who are providing all the help that they can give us to make sure that we can bring this production to you as often as we can. So, into the second half, guys, we were just talking off air there. Meadow getting beat at Blantyre Vicks midweek.
Yeah.
That could be a result that's really coming back to haunt them.
Yeah, as I said, obviously the result being 3-0 as it is, that's 7 goals in the last 2 games. That's not the form you want to be hitting when you're looking for points and trying to be staying in the league. So it just makes you wonder, what's the reaction been since midweek? Obviously, just kind of put that to one side, like we need to kind of focus on it. But looking at it now, it probably brings that back into focus, given you've lost before. Lost by 2, but 4 goals conceded. Another 3 today. That's a concern getting into these last 2 games.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see the lineup, how much has changed the team as well. That'd be an interesting one.
And I think ultimately, like we've touched on here, is the big thing for me is this is a reverting back to type.
Yeah.
Now, Jamie, we've praised Jamie so much. We have really, I think the job he's done has been excellent, but his team's not good enough.
No.
And you can always get a tune at times out of, because the teams, when I say it's not good enough, in terms of there's good players in there who are good enough at times to raise their game and get results, which they've clearly shown.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to a base level,
Consistency.
the consistency, and do you know what? I'll even take it to, without hopefully offending anybody. You look at the top level of the game, Celtic and Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
Celtic are quite clearly the better side,
Mm-hmm.
but Rangers are a good enough team that their players can up it and beat Celtic, and they've shown that. They've not lost to Celtic over 90 minutes in the last 4 games because they can up it. but over the course of the season,
Can you
they
sustain
don't
it?
have that sustainability. Whereas the Meda, in a sense, are kind of like that, where they do have enough quality to go and beat teams. And Rob Roy, similar, got enough quality to go and beat teams, but
100%.
overall, you're going to drop points where you really shouldn't, or would think you shouldn't.
But see, for saying that, the expectations of Meda have been so big
Yeah.
for far too long,
Yeah, I agree.
and it's not changing. Now, you've changed managers,
Yeah.
you've changed players, but why do you think it's still getting the same results?
I don't know. I think
Players aren't good enough.
The players
They're not
aren't
right
good
in.
enough.
That's it.
there is that, but there is, I feel, just this
Is it a false
a
expectation?
false expectation. They're maybe not moving with the times, but there is a lot of up and coming clubs as well. You look at maybe the St Cadoc's that have come out and they went into top league. I think they've got to be respectful that there is other clubs now that are coming through the pack. They're breaking in, they're separating the pack, and they've got to try and find a way to keep up with that. And I think, for me, if it being disrespectful, it feels like they're just living off reputation.
Yeah.
This is who we are, this is what we expect. And they're kind of falling for grace for me, go down and down and down the leagues.
There's a big goal just come in as well in the first division. Rob Roy 0, Ashfield 1.
No, we've been through there. It's one each now.
One
Rob
each.
Roy have pulled a goal back. That's your half two kick off.
I'd expect Rob Roy to go and hopefully, for their sake, because obviously, see, Ashfield are already away, but I like Rob Roy. It's another big club, and you think this is where maybe you see the difference between a Rob Roy and an Irvine Meadow. Rob Roy are a big club. They've been up the top end of the Premier League for a long number of years. They've came down, but there's a realistic expectation set upon what they're going to achieve. Whereas I feel like no matter where the Meadow are, no matter what league they're in, what position in, we have to win this. We have to win. It's just win at all costs, and I don't think they can afford to have that outlook given the position they're in.
Do you know, I'm actually going to say I did not realise the Easterhouse were playing today. Right? I'm just looking at the scores coming in. Didn't realise they were playing today. With Kello losing to St Peters, Easterhouse are 1-0 up at half time to Saltcoats. In a tricky game, Stevie Wilson's done a tremendous job down there.
Aye.
Particularly at home, really tough game. Now you're looking at it, Easterhouse, they've moved back into promotion spots. I know that Kello still have the game in hand, and as it stands, it's only a point in it. But Kello need to be careful of that. That's them being sucked right back into that there when we thought a couple of weeks ago they were potentially going to be safe.
We also look at their result today. We were talking about it last week. St Peters have a really strong second half to the season. They've beaten Knightswood. I think they've only lost 2 of their last 13 games or something like that. So you look at in the form table that this wasn't going to be an easy game for Kello, but then obviously they've put 3 past them. So maybe St Peters 3 past them a couple of weeks ago. So maybe St Peters have learned a lot for that fixture. Adapted how they were going to approach it.
They've kind of become disruptors.
Mm-hmm.
They've become disruptors. We missed them out of that kind of the 4th division. They have that middle pack who are full of teams that could go and beat the top teams, but they're not consistent enough.
See, a thing that's outside the Premier Division, I think that's really been quite noticeable for me is each league has got 3 or 4 teams really vying for it at the top, and 3 or 4 teams who are just cut adrift.
Yeah.
In the middle section, they just take points off everybody.
Aye.
It really has been like a leagues of 3, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's like your top 3 or 4, that's it. Your bottom 3 are gone, and the middle teams are they're floating there, but they're taking points off
I
everyone.
think you can put Rossville in that category because I was expecting them to go up. I've watched quite a few of the games this season and I've been really impressed with how they play.
Yeah.
The Bosley deck, they're zipping it about. There's a good tempo to what they're doing, but they've also lost a few games recently, and that's kind of knocked them out. But at the same time, you still wouldn't expect them to go win their last 2 games as well, because they've got potential to do it. So they've just hit a blip at the wrong time.
You look at Rossville, so I think that again, I talk about it every week.
There's Meadow just pulled a goal back.
Oh, come back on.
Come back
That's
potentially on.
I think if they score in the next 10, 15 minutes, they'll maybe have a chance. On Rossville, I do get to see Josh will send me clips of the games and stuff, and I get to see they are very much
very fluent, aren't they?
They're very nice football team. But to be fair, they do mix it up occasionally. But I think it's strategically they'll clip it in behind when a team's pressing them. They'll clip it in, they'll play. But I think that the issue you have, and it's something that as I had at East Kilbride, and it's something that I had at Wishaw, that the problem you potentially face at this level when you try and play a lot of expansive football from the back, your players aren't really good enough at times. I mean, I've watched, let's say, with Rossville, some of the build-up play. I
Been
mean,
good, innit?
really good. The goalkeeper's really keen to play
Yep.
for the back. The defenders want the ball, and there's no way they lose lots and lots of goals from playing it for the back. But there's concentration lapse at guys at that level, and
And that's-
just
The goals
And that's
against
why,
them,
and
yeah.
that's why they're at that level, isn't
Well,
it?
that's
And
exactly it. That's
because-
exactly it.
Listen, I'm not saying that we should be anti-football and all that, but I think
No.
too many teams try to play
Totally
out
agree.
with their capabilities.
Totally.
you heard what did you hear what Capello said about Guardiola? I think it was Capello.
He's
It's
ruined
totally
He's ruined football.
Well,
And don't get me wrong, right, so I think it's
Like,
maybe a bit facetious with how he's saying it, but for me, everybody
I know what he's saying.
started to think that you had to play like Guardiola's team,
Aye.
and now it's starting to go away from that.
I'll put my hand up, right? See, for the past 4 seasons, if Man City are on the telly, I don't watch them. I find
I
it
find
boring.
them boring. So they are.
Really boring.
So they are.
And I just think, why play 26 passes
No
to
point.
create an attacking situation,
No.
to go from right back to left back? I think it was Gary Neville. And I don't mind Gary Neville. I think he talks a lot of nonsense, but I also think he puts up some sense. The highest pass completion rates over the past couple of years are all by defenders.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Virgil van Dijk,
Aye.
John Stones. John Stones.
Lewis Dunk was even in there as
Aye.
well. You know what I mean?
Right.
Before
See,
that,
see, for
right?
me, I think John Stones is wasted at centre half. I
That's a
think
great player.
I think he's a better midfielder.
Yeah.
And I would rather have John Stones playing the middle of the park, going forward,
Yep.
rather than playing the
But
defence.
see, even at that, you look at like I appreciate we're talking about a completely different level of football here, but you look at Liverpool, right?
It breeds down.
I don't watch a lot of English football. I've not really got great interest in it. For me, it's Scottish Premier League, Scotland, and West of Scotland. That's what I
Yeah.
like to watch. But you look at some of the games I've seen Liverpool play. Van Dijk and Trent both regularly do the 60, 70-yard diag into
Yeah.
Salah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They do it regularly.
Yeah.
They suck teams in, they do 6,
go.
7 passes. Teams come in, bang, and behind for Salah, and they go.
Yeah.
And I think you're starting to see a change in football. And even at our level, I think you're starting to see a change in football where you look at Mourinho, he dominated for years with
Yeah.
his style of football. And then Guardiola came in and started to phase him out. And
Yeah.
it was old. He got past it. Mourinho's not been able to recover and get the kind of levels he had before.
Yeah.
Now the cycle for Guardiola's total football is coming to an end as well. You'd even seen teams going back to 4-4-2.
Aye. Who was it I watched the other night last week? I can't remember, but I was watching it and I was looking at they're sitting in a 4-4-2. And I thought that
Sorry,
was very
guys,
unusual.
just to interrupt. That is now 3-0 for Green. Ryan Doherty.
No, that's like that's it's one each with Ardeer and Bells Hill. So it's looking completely like it's gone for Ardeer. 2-0 Easterhouse. Kyle Tom with the second goal there. And we have a goal in the playoff match for League Two. East Kilbride 1-0 up. Cammy Elliott with the goal. So that is 1-0 East Kilbride after 2 minutes. Great
That's
start
great
for East
start.
Kilbride. That's a great start.
But see, we're talking about the football there. See, when Maxi first went into Pollock, and obviously the relationship match. See, when they had Dan Christie playing wide right,
Mhm.
that's what they done.
I
They
find them.
got the ball forward
Yep.
quickly, and that's when they were attacking,
Yep.
and that's where they were going. So I think at our level, we've got to understand that
100%.
the abilities and
Mhm.
not the limitations of our players, but the abilities of our players. I would always be
Yeah.
I would always go on the positive
Mhm.
rather than be the negative. So the ability of our players at our level is get forward, get there quickly, let's get
It's
goals.
exciting as well. I feel like even talking what you were saying, how it comes down the levels, even last year when I was playing with Saturday morning, it came down to that. We were having to play it for the back.
Mhm.
And we lost some crazy goals. They try to play out and you're like, I know I'm playing to a guy who's not comfortable
Yep.
with his feet, but you're instructed to do it, so you do it, and then you look stupid if you loses a ball. And you're like, well,
Even if things like down the levels where you being a goalkeeper, Scott, you're going to pass it out to a centre half. His body position is facing you,
100%, he's
and
closed.
he's not ready.
Nah, he's got to be open.
Best option is swings a leg and fires it on the shoulder, or
Exactly.
just rolls it back and you kick it long.
I'm
the
happy I've done that for the start.
Paul with a query at right back or a right wing. Give me the ball and let me
Bang,
go.
go.
Just go. And it, like,
Play to your strengths.
and see the thing is, it's. I think that part of the problem you get, like John Walker, who was at Darvel and stuff like that. John does the analysis stuff. John's analysis stuff's excellent for me. John's of a different opinion from me, and I think that part of the issue you get is me. It was me and John actually when we spoke about as teams at East Kilbride, and John, not a goal, but he had put his viewpoint on it to us.
Sorry, 4-0 Greenock. That's for us, one of my
That
players.
game over.
Game over.
But I feel like sometimes because of the total football mindset for the last 15 years, that people will say, see, if you're not a pure advocate of pass, you're anti-football.
No,
And that's not the case.
no.
Because, like, for me, I love watching teams who will pass and try and build. But you see, if you need to clip it in, and I'm not talking about aimless
100%.
kicking.
No.
See, if you've got Salah, or if you're Celtic, you've got Diaz and Maeda.
Yeah.
Why would you not be like, Tavernier's not quite as quick?
Listen,
Go and drop it in.
100%.
Put it in top here.
See the year we won the league with the Rangers, Goldson done that with Kent
Mhm.
constantly. He would step out a wee bit. Somebody would break the line. He would go bang, Kent, and we'd get in behind teams constantly. You need to cut back goals.
It's effective. It's
Aye.
exciting. Like you said.
100%. See, it's good watching teams that are able to do that, go for defence to attack quickly. We talk about Man City, that doesn't happen.
No.
It's build through the lines, come back again, and I'm just like, I can't watch this.
And only certain teams can play that way. Guardiola's teams generally, because he coaches it.
Mhm.
But you have to sign specific players
I know.
for that,
Exactly.
and it's just you've
Do-
not got Xavi and
that's it.
Iniesta, Busquets.
I think that's why people like Kyle Walker get phased out, because they're an attacking
Mhm.
bombing fullback, and he just kind of phased out. He's at AC Milan now as
I
well.
know.
So you feel like that, you're not seeing fullbacks get beyond as much anymore either.
And how exciting is that? How exciting is that watching
Aye,
the
Just
fullback
I
bombing?
still love it.
Just in a wee interest here, guys. In the 44th minute, Rob Roy were awarded a penalty.
Missed.
They missed it.
Oh,
That could be the margins.
Jordan Perry.
Jordan Perrin, he scored a lot of goals as well. Really.
That was the lifeline back in for Rob
aye,
Roy.
100%. I still think they'll go and win the game.
I think so as well. I don't think Ashfield will get enough quality.
Just
We'll get in the battle for second place in the Premier League. Talbot and St Cadoc's are drawing 1-1. Second half just started. Petershill have pulled a goal back against Arthley, so that is 1-1 in that game. But it still wins the league for Arthley as it stands. So it's Del McNabb puts Nielsen back ahead. 2-1 to Nielsen against St
I
Anthony.
still think, as Scott and I said at the start, I still think Nielsen should have too much quality in the bag to
They should.
throw that one away. But as long as there's only one goal in it,
I know. Again, on paper, you look at that, you think they'd be more comfortable. But I knew it was going to be a tough game.
well, you said that Nielsen don't have a good result.
They don't.
Record down there.
No, they don't. I think even when I was at the Kev Muirhead, where you get beat 1-0, when that came out of nowhere. I think last season. I think they've lost this season. I'm sure that might be the other team that beat them this season. Was it Bells Hill?
I'll have a wee look.
I have another nibble.
And but I think you make the point with every time it's been a really, really big one, they have struggled.
Mhm.
And in terms of who you're against, this isn't a big game for Nielsen, but the pressure's there because of what's at stake. And I think it's definitely a pressure game for them.
Mhm.
So they beat the Ants 3-0. So they beat the Ants 3-0 at Briggerlee.
So it
So
must have been last season then, because they have recently they've dropped points here quite a few times, and I think if it's one big mental, I think it was under Chris Cameron, they had like a 9-0 win, something ridiculous at the Ants, and then after that they've kind of but they should have enough. You said Dale must be on about 26, 27 goals.
it's been a very good season.
I think if it being disrespectful, the drop of levels done him world of wonders, because last season it was really frustrating because he would get into great positions, he'd do everything right, and they finished at times before he wasn't there. And he's a nice guy, Dale. He works his socks off. And this season, maybe the wee drop in levels he's kicked on.
That's given him a wee sort of
I
rejuvenation.
think so.
But do you think, though, you look at that with Dale, and I've spoken at length about Sean Daly, Ewan McIver, even the boys at Thrieve. I know you're saying last season was a tough season for him,
Yeah.
but if you're maybe a bottom half first division team who are looking to try and push on a wee touch, you're maybe looking at somebody like Dale and saying, well, if this guy scores 26 goals, that might translate to 15 goals in the first division next year. But or would Dale be staying at Nielsen
I
if they
think
go
they
up?
would probably stay, because he'd have probably the chance. He came for Cambuslang towards the kind of tail end of the season where Nielsen had a chance of staying up still, and then it just kind of fizzled out a wee bit. So Nielsen, I think Andy maybe had the same idea, but he's scoring goals, maybe he's going to come over. And I think he scored about 9 or 10 for Cambuslang before he came over. So he's, as you said, bordering on that 12-15 mark, and it never really happened. But I like Dale. Got a lot of time. He's a really nice guy. He works his socks off. He's committed. So I can be more pleased for him.
Will Sewell gets his second of the game
Lars.
to make it 2-2 with Largs and Darvel.
Interesting.
We're still We're still tied at Bemba. We're still tied at Mabel. I wonder, quite a cagey day, because apart from the Meda result, we're not seeing anybody really run away with it. And, we're not really seeing anybody run away with it.
Do you think that's just coming down to it's too tight, teams are too scared?
The weather might play a part in that as well.
That's very, very, very warm. I was playing this morning. It was
Hurlford just getting 3-2 up against Beeve. Massive goal in the first division in terms of the title. Petershill are now 2-1 up against Athley.
Where'd that
Wow.
come from? That was a quick turnaround.
Mm-hmm.
Are they at
So-
home, Peasy?
They're at home.
And they've got a good home record, Peasy, but they seem to.
And Arthur stumbled during the week as well. Is this maybe a carryover? Too many games to pick out and too
Well,
many
that is the issue.
short space of time.
Let's be honest, they'll still get through and win the title.
Well, this will be interesting,
This-
as you mentioned it. It could be really interesting if they were to drop again and they don't win it.
What?
Who would have seen that?
Well, Petershill obviously might get a lift for this when they play Renfrew next week.
Exactly. They're Renfrew at home, isn't
Yeah,
Mhm.
beautiful.
they? I think that's I think they should win that.
Listen, I can't believe I'm missing the game because I'm having to stick in for here. But Paul's just shown us a face here. What's happening?
2 games. Kello taking the lead against St Peters. So that's a really important one.
2-1.
Ardea must be listening to the Greenock game. Must be listening to the show. They are 3-1 down to Bells Hill.
See, talk about disruptors as well. That was another team I was going to mention, Bells Hill. They've taken some big points off of big scalps this season.
Bells Hill are a team you can't read this season.
Huh?
Cannot read them at all.
Yep.
It would be as you say, a disruptors, a team you would never back to take it. I mean, they're
Very
sitting,
inconsistent.
Do you know what I've just
they're
realised?
sitting in 38 points.
Mhm.
I just realised, talking about that game, it's a friendly.
Is it?
They're not even in the same league.
Who's it same play? Bells?
Bells Hill and Ardea, they're not even in the same league.
So they are, aren't they?
That makes absolutely no difference. They're not even in the same league. Who cares?
Going back to the Renfrew thing.
Uh-huh.
We spoke about Jimmy potentially being manager of the year. They've got one game. Petershill beating Arthurlie today. Arthurlie champions elect. Lost a game midweek. Losing again today. Petershill getting with a positive result today. If as it stands, do we think Renfrew got enough to beat Petershill next week?
I think they do. And
They have
do you know, I'm hoping I don't jinx them, right? Because I would have said, and I've said this multiple weeks in a row, if you'd said to me 2 months ago which team will fall out of the promotion hunt,
Mhm.
I would have put my mortgage on it being Renfrew. And based on how I do score predictors, I definitely would have been a good thing for Renfrew. But I would have been so convinced that it would have been Renfrew to drop out of the promotion spot. And they've gone and beaten pretty much everybody about them.
That's what I say.
I mean, beating the Glencairn game, draw with Renfrew, beating Kilwinning,
True Arthurlie, sorry,
draw with Arthurlie, beating Kilwinning, beating Gartcairn.
beat Glencairn.
Glencairn, I'm having one
I
here.
think.
Sorry,
I
I
think,
know, I'm trying to look, I'm trying to
Suppose you
find,
switch seats.
I know,
I think the biggest result that I'll say we, because I'm not hiding the nose on the Renfrew supporter. Yeah, I think the biggest result was us beating Baylor Clyde away. See, that was
the
the-
2-0
that
was a massive
that, that was the game that really solidified it to me, saying,
Yeah.
do you know what, we can go up here.
Aye.
We can go up.
I think the only thing that will kill Renfrew is the expectation, because they'll have a big crowd there next week.
That place will be heaving
Yeah.
next week.
They'll have a big crowd.
So I'm pointing at the screen for Scott to see.
Right.
And this is where it changed, though. This is where it really started to change for me with Renfrew. They beat Petershill in January. Then
Sticky before that, didn't they?
yep, they had a real sticky patch. But then you look at the teams about them, right? So since Christmas, they've played Arthurlie, drawn with Arthurlie, played Kilwinning, beaten Kilwinning, played Glencairn, beaten Glencairn, played St Roch's, beat the Rock,
Thornywood
played Thornywood, they lost to Thornywood,
They
didn't
did.
they?
They get beat 5-3, I think.
And they played Petershill and beat Petershill,
They beat Cumbernauld.
and they beat Cumbernauld. So that's your top 8. They have beaten almost everybody.
They beat Villa Clyde. I think they get beat off
They beat
Kilburn 1-0.
Kilburn beat them 1-0.
So you
And that was at home.
beat 7 of the 10 in Drew
Aye.
Weather. So that is promotion form.
So
3 each with Arthurlie.
It's a good result. Not many people are
I
taking points off Arsenal.
think getting beat at home with Kilburn was a sore
how
hit.
much? And that was quite recent when they were in good form.
That was the
Does
8th
that
of
one,
March.
if they miss it by a point or 2 points,
That's what it brings it back to.
how does that feel for you being Being Jimmy.
Well, since it's your daughter's
Sorry, Des. Bonnyrigg have just equalised 1-1 with
1-1.
East Riding
Game on.
Bonnyrigg.
game on.
And Gartcairn are 1-0 up against Shots.
Oh no, that's and the Bens are drawing.
Albert are 2-1 up against St Catholics. Sorry, Des, on you go.
So just saying, since it's your obviously your daughter's family event next week, I will make sure that I've got Martin Ferry at the Renfrew game next week to
Brilliant.
give us updates to
There you
keep
go.
us live. But yeah, let's all hope that this.
Tell you what, the days get a wee bit better for the Meda. Johnny has just texted to say it is 1-0 to St Rochs. So St Rochs are beating Mabel 1-0. It might be enough for
Made it stay up.
Meda to stay up. So
That is,
4 points in it just now. If Mabel don't at least get a point,
that's it.
then that's it over, and they're looking safe, barring Clydebank not getting promoted. But for St Rochs, I mean, that's 51 points.
I don't see it as a joke.
I don't see it.
Do you think it's too much?
Aye.
You think?
100%.
The mid-season, I think the mid-season
Wait,
has been the collapse.
Glencairn winning today is just
Takes them up to 55, doesn't it?
so that. So basically, they need to beat Colwood. Nah, it's done. If Glencairn win today, it's done for St Rochs.
I mean,
So-
that's a 3-1 up.
A 3-1 up.
So, aye.
So that kills St Rochs. Maybole getting beat. That kills them.
Yep.
Keeps Meadow where they are. Be interesting to hear the comments after it. It'll be really interesting to see. We spoke about it earlier. What kind of job Jamie does during the summer.
Mm-hmm.
How bittersweet would that be today, though, to lose but
And
stay
still
up?
So stay up. I know.
Double jeopardy.
Aye.
How
I'm
would?
still happy.
Aye, that's what I was just about to say. How do you
Still
think?
happy.
How do you think he would be feeling losing instead? Obviously,
I don't think he'll care.
I
No,
think
I'd put
I
it
think
one
if you
side,
were,
I'd be still annoyed.
I think if you were told at the start of the day, look, Jamie, you're going to take a wee bit of doing, but maybe they're going to lose. You're going to stay up. You probably go right, fine, we'll take it.
And you're in a job next year.
Aye,
Aye.
but you're no overly happy.
Although saying that, when saying he's in a job next year, he's in a job of his own choosing.
Yes.
I don't think Meadow.
No, I don't think you're right.
So it's a job of his own choosing. It's now just to see how much they get back.
Yeah.
And what kind of influence he has in the team. Does he keep Brophy? Does Brophy stay? I think he will.
You think so? He'll have suitors.
Oh, he'll have suitors.
He'll have suitors.
Is he still under contract next year under Offaly?
I don't know.
I'd imagine they'll probably
I
sign
think
him up
they
for a
will.
year and a half deal.
Aye. You
So
think so?
he's on loan to the end of the
Oh,
season.
loan, sorry.
He's only on loan at the moment.
So I don't know. Obviously, he's got a relationship with Jamie, being in it, obviously, the borough with him. So I don't know. He's a really good player, Brophy, but I do like him.
Mhm.
I do like him. Sometimes he can go missing. He can, but over the piece, I think he's an exciting player.
Yeah, I was actually quite surprised that he wasn't featuring as
Yeah.
much for Offaly. I didn't. Obviously, something's happened up there.
Well,
that he-
I touched on last week when I went to see them against St Rochs.
Mhm.
The two strikers are big boys.
Halfway.
Uh-huh. And maybe that's what they're looking for.
Mhm.
Maybe that's what Kevin Nukovic is looking for, and maybe Brophy just doesn't quite suit that.
No.
You can always know that he's overly small, but you can also get little and large
He's
things
a
as
bit
well.
like Jojo Gillespie for me.
Aye.
He's got that sort of small, dynamic.
He can play wide as well.
Mhm.
Brophy doesn't always. Sometimes when we played when Lucy Nielsen, it wasn't up top. He was kind of pulling wide a lot of times, which was difficult to pick up.
Yeah.
You only should stick a twist. You leave him. If you leave him, he's going to cause you problems.
Aye.
If you go with him, he's exploiting space behind you. So it was difficult. But I rate him.
Well, talking about right now, if Clydebank don't get promoted, we'll start to look at some ifs.
Right.
If Clydebank don't get promoted, as it stands in the first division, Rob Roy are currently ahead of Ardrossan with a game in hand. They're ahead of them on goal difference with a game in hand. The Meda still have the chance to go ahead of Ardrossan if they beat Mabel and Ardrossan lose their remaining game, which is against Kilbirnie.
Crunch.
Pretty
A derby-ish, yeah.
A
Not too far
derby-ish
from each
game,
other at
aye.
all.
Pretty a derby-ish game as well.
A lot of meaning in it as well.
And so you could potentially be looking at.
I'm surprised with Drawson this season because they absolutely romped that league last year. When
I
they
know
came
they
up,
were good last
they
year.
were very good.
They've had a few injuries this year.
Yes.
I know that. I've talked to Aidan Ferris
Mhm.
quite often. He seems to think that and I agree. I think they should be safe.
Mhm.
But Kilbirnie's a team that's been really, really up and down for me this year.
That would have been a good question for you. They've got 9 wins, 9 draws, and 9 defeats.
I did think about it, but I thought
Did
it was too obvious.
Too obvious.
Too obvious,
The connection, aye.
I wouldn't have got it, to be honest with you.
I thought it was too obvious. I would like to see Kilmarnock stay up, and again, that's another club that don't have the financial backing that club. I spoke with Paul Brown. They don't have the backing that people would anticipate with it.
Yeah.
But they've got such a great catchment area, such a great field.
Yeah.
There's everything they've got, everything you need.
That's
They've
what's
got down there.
so good about the first division. I think, like, out with the Premier League, you've got so many big clubs.
They've made,
Kilmarnock are a big club, you know.
they've made themselves a first division club.
Aye,
That is what they are
That
now.
is-
Is they're a first division club. Darvel have retaken the lead against Largs 3-2 up. Ali Love with a goal there. Aidan Kerr
Ali Love.
puts Threave
I've got
2-0 up. Goal for shots. 1-1 with shots in Cairn. Still 1-1 with the Borough. Oh, just as I say it. Just as I say it is still 1-1 with the Bens and the Borough. And it is 1-1 with shots. It is now 2-1. 2-1. Tell you what, Gartcairn need to sack their Twitter, man.
Is he switched it again?
So,
Correction.
do you want it? No, and I'm going to show you this, right? So you look at this, we have 1-1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Obviously, easy to
5
see.
minutes ago, yeah.
Yep, and then we look at 2-1 V shots. Who's that 2-1 to? Is that 2-1 shots? Or is that 2-1 to Gartcairn?
I would say shots. He's went 2-1, V1. I don't
I don't know, it's hard. And then Benburb have gone 2-1 as well, but not said to who, but I assume they mean
It
themselves.
just says 2-1, doesn't it?
Michael Mullen gets his double 2-0 against Port. Michael Mullen scored a lot of goals recently.
His
A
name-
lot of
his
goals.
name just keeps
So,
popping up, doesn't
I
it?
scored a lot of goals. So it is 2-1 to shots now. That was terrible.
I think because he's put shots next to
Aye.
it, but it's no obvious to me.
Hurlford now 4-2 up against Beath. Josh Jack gets a goal back, his second of the game, making it 3-2 to Drumchapel against Cumnock. But we'll go for a quick break and I will be right back. This.
Yep, we'll be back for the last 15 minutes, guys. Speak something. Just all right so far.
Good, mate. Good. How you feeling, mate?
Ah, it's fine. Just try to keep checking.
You realise how difficult it is to try and continue
Right.
talking there, but when you're doing it.
5 minutes.
Sourcing top quality commercial vehicles is what we do best.
Used to be a sound and light engineer, so I used to do all this carry on. Like talk, say that.
We'll source the perfect vehicle for the best possible price.
I'm speaking to you to show you
Independent company, we supply all makes and models.
Fucking domestic
Check out our
switch.
socials or visit
She's bought me a hat, so she must be feeling
Such
such nice.
See when we start. That's when we start back. Say something for Scott for you to take it on, and then I'll show you because the camera always drops it on this. I'll show you how to bring it back, right?
Over we go. What's the topic? Do you want to
Give me a team, give me something.
Nielsen, let's go back to
go
that.
back to Nielsen?
Yeah.
How Andy Whiteford be feeling? What's
No, do you know what? Go with the bends.
Think of a couple of weeks. You quite.
I would have been one to one.
Aye, you see off here, obviously, when we get something. I feel all listens about all that boy talks about his
Struggling with your
shopping.
legs.
No, mate, I've been up my miles, so I'm a bit tight. It's no,
You done any of these sessions yet?
no, mate, I'm waiting till I've done my full block for the ultra marathon. I've not missed a run in 32.
No for me, man. Yeah, I thought mother next month, man. 15k.
And welcome back. So we're into the last 12 minutes of the Saturday afternoon show. Remember, if you want to talk to us, want to get in touch with us, you can call us on 07936 717 412 and get us on all our social medias at SAT Football Live. We're just talking off air there about the results coming in, and probably one of the ones we didn't expect, and certainly we didn't predict it in our comments. Scott, the Bens leading Borough 2-1.
Well, speak for yourself. I think if we listen back, I did say I felt the Bens could get something here today, given what's at stake. They've obviously conceded a lot of goals this year, Benburb, but there's no getting away from it. 77 goals is relegation for them. But the Borough have been not even hitting a miss. Their form recently has been kind of off the boil after such a good run. I don't know if we spoke about it earlier on, maybe they have rested a couple of players, but that's taken nothing away obviously for Benburb. Benburb have obviously been good today to get the 2 goals they've scored, because again they've only scored 43 this season as well, so that's not a lot. I feel I would like to see Benburb hold on here. I know they probably are a first division team without being disrespectful to them. But again, I like the Bens. I like the way they run. They're a good committee in there as well. I would like to see them hold on.
They're probably punched above their weight for the past couple of
Aye,
seasons.
but you need teams that do that as well. You do
I think something we need to look at as well is you're talking about Johnson Borough, just to take it away from the Bens for a wee second, we'll come back to that. Talking about Johnson Borough, you look at Largs as well, the two of them are stumbling and stuttering all over the place because we know what they've got their eyes on next week.
Yep.
Next week it's all about the Scottish Cup semi-final, which I think for Largs is massive in terms of a club and what it could mean financially. But I think it's probably equally important for Johnson Borough to go and win a major trophy at this level to show that they are a big club again.
Yeah, I think, in my opinion, if you said at the start of the season, Largs will finish between the sort of mid-table, Arnie would take that. They would take it because where they are, they've got a local team. They're all the boys coming from Inverclyde. If you're bringing in Johnson Borough, who have got these massive finances, massive resources. Now, we did say earlier that they've come up from the division below, not as champions, to go and finish second, but to get a cup on top of that, and not even just a cup, the Scottish Cup.
Yeah.
To be fair, as it stands, they're not finishing second.
No, they're not finishing second. Talbot are going to come through that.
But see, Alton, just what we had up there, Borough's form since the 5th of April, it's been so patchy.
Yeah.
It's so patchy, so that's a month, maybe 6 weeks worth of games. You went, basically what's that, they've went for the 5th of April there, I noticed. So they've went, lost against Cumnock, then they beat Hurlford, then they've lost against Largs, then they've been battered off of shots, beat Pollock, beat off Benburb, then they beat Largs, drew with Beeve, and probably not the best result because Beeve are really struggling in it, and then potentially 2-1 down to Benburb. So it's really kind of concerning run of results for me getting into that final.
Yeah.
In the last 10 games, you're looking at Johnson Borough winning three. It's quite concerning for them, and I appreciate
it's no form to take into a
semi-final.
No.
But
semi-final, sorry, I said
the,
final.
the benefit for, was that a wee Freudian slip?
Another one.
The benefit for the Borough when we're talking about that is equally
Largs have done the same.
Largs are losing the day. They drew with Cumnock during the week. They lost to St Cadoc's. The Borough beat them. They beat Bede marginally. They lost to Talbot. They lost to St Cadoc's. They beat the Borough. So it only seems to be a couple of results as well there. They've since they've beaten Clydebank in the 12th of April, they've had a really patchy run as well, the two of them.
But see where the game, I'm just going to result in there for you, Paul. It's now Rossfield 0, Port Glasgow 1.
Yes, there we go.
The Undertaker's back into it. No, just we're saying both teams are on pretty patchy form to say the least. But it's a one-off game, semi-final. Largs are one ahead.
Yeah.
It's at home. Are you betting against them?
I would probably go with Largs given in the form. Just looking even at the stats, Borough conceding a lot of goals.
And it's on Astro, 2 games in a row on Astro for Borough.
They're scoring a lot, conceding a lot of goals. Largs, aren't they? And it sounds a bit contradictory. The only game the Hub lost heavily was against Borough.
Largs have just gone 3-3. David McGrath for a goal there, so it's 3-3 with Talbot 2-1 up against St Cadoc's. Going to have a wee look in the second division. 4th and the bottom end of the table are playing Yoker. 4th are now 1-0 up with Cambuslang winning at the moment. Yoker drop into the relegation zone.
Never seen that coming.
No chance did you see that coming?
Quite comfortably mid-table for a bit there, but 4th looked cut adrift and had a lot of games in hand. We were talking about it. Did they have it in them? But me and you were talking about it. We said I could see them actually.
Oh, definitely.
And that's a tough gig Dom's went into.
Aye.
It's a really tough gig.
So we've got a wee correction to make due to poor social media.
Was it Gart Kennedy chance?
No, it was the Bens when they did the 2-1. It's actually Johnson Borough who are 2-1 up.
Joking.
We've
We've done a big section there.
Big massive section on it.
Edited that out.
And they're pretty much relegated for me. I just don't see them being able to come back and for shots to go and drop points. Glenafton 3-0 up against Pollock. Shuggy Kerr with a goal there.
Oh, against his old team.
John Craig makes it 3-3 for Drumchapel and Cumnock, so a really good turnaround for there. Just as I say that, 2 minutes later, Tam Orr puts Cumnock 4-3 up against Drumchapel.
What a game.
That is
end of season game that right there, isn't it?
Really
7 goals.
It's quite an interesting one. That
Kenny Young just coming in with a wee text here from the Muirkirk Cambuslang game saying that the buses have been well and truly parked. Muirkirk are throwing everything at it, but there's just not working out for them.
Oh,
So
interesting.
Cambuslang are holding on.
Aye.
Holding on.
Bit of time to be holding on though, innit? There's still a wee bit of time left.
Well, going by our clock, there's 6 minutes still to go.
So you're probably
6 minutes.
you're probably looking at closer to 10.
Aye.
Probably
Aye.
10 minutes.
That's long to be holding on. I feel
And-
just
But there you go. That's
And it's
I've tipped Newcastle to win the league.
I don't think they will now. They can.
Well, they still
They
can,
can, but I
they
just
can.
feel like given if Nielsen go up,
You could get a draw with Whitlets and Lanark,
aye,
and if Nielsen don't win the last game, but there's a lot of permutations you
that's
need
what I
to
mean.
play
It's
into.
just, I just don't see it now. I
Now,
think
Muirkirk, if it stays as is, they drop out of the promotion spots now.
that's mad. That is mad.
I mean, that'll be
Nielsen will go top.
Nielsen 64, Whitlets 63, Lanark 63, Muirkirk 63.
I still think Lanark will win it.
Well,
Do you know the funny thing is? So Nielsen will go to 64, right? Last game season if Lanark. So if Nielsen win their next 2 games,
they win the league.
they win the league.
And look who the last game's against.
And look where they've been playing,
Aye.
And they're playing Yoker
Yoker.
on the last day.
and Yoker could be down.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Des, I know that you were getting to choose the featured fixtures for next week. Surely got to be Nielsen and Yoker.
Oh, that's-
Or is it Whitlets and Lanark? I don't know.
Can we get 2 for the same division?
We can if you want, huh?
I don't know actually, so I'm just going back to it because Nielsen have been 67 if Lanark win, they'll been 67, so it could come into goal difference because it's so tight, 39 to 38. Nielsen will be level in goal difference with Lanark after today.
Well,
If
no.
it stays at 2-1.
If Nielsen win their 2 games, they win the league.
They go to 67, but Lanark on.
They can only go to
Sorry,
they can only go to
sorry,
66.
sorry, I'm
So
reading that. I thought they had 62 there.
Lanark can only get to.
66.
66, sorry, I thought they had 62. My
No.
mistake.
So at this moment in time, Nielsen with the 2 games are the only ones that can hit 67. So
So there you go.
if you said to Andy Whitefield at the start of the season,
2
Andy,
games to
you
win
get
the league.
2 games
Aye.
to win the league.
Against 4th bottom and 2nd bottom.
But then Yoker are fighting to stay in the league, so that could be a
Yoker,
tough match.
Yoker could be away.
They could be relegated.
They could be
Tough
relegated.
match.
No, they still. No, they'll still have a chance.
Still have a chance.
Aye,
They need to
so-
win.
hmm
So
they would,
that's
they would remain. So Cambuslang would jump up to 29. Yoker would remain at 28. Getting into the last game of the season, they could go to 31. For Cambuslang, they can go to 32.
so a bit of
So
Les
it's like-
Mahego, Yoker and Canby. Basically.
But then you've also got, right, just again,
Hypothetically,
well, all these hypotheticals, right? But if the Ants can get an equaliser,
Mm-hmm.
they're on 26 points. If Cambuslang hold out, they're on 29. Yoker 28. We could still be in the possibilities that the Ants don't get relegated.
Just
That second
Aye,
division's
too
ridiculous.
much
It's
going.
ridiculous.
That is mad.
The Ants last game's Les Mahego. That's a tough game away from home.
That is a tough game. And they're still no clear. Les Mahego either. If they win their next game, are they playing today, Les Mahego?
Yeah, I believe they are. Of
You go are playing at home to go south.
course, it's another tough game
Tough
for them.
game. So if they win today, I think they'll be okay.
Aye, well, I win today. They're mathematically safe.
Just so much going on. I think it's been a really exciting end to the league.
2-0 to St Roch's against Mabel. So Mabel are relegated, but it's it.
And that saves. No, it doesn't save Meadow, does it?
Aye.
It
That
does
does.
save Meadow.
Austin Syme with his third of the game. Talbot 3-1 up against St Cadoc's. Just talking about Les Mahego game there. It is 1-1 with Les Mahego and Cosyth. So they've literally, as we were talking about them, Les Mahego just scored after being 1-0 down. So they're putting themselves in a position. Large Travis Stracy has scored a penalty to make it 4-3 against Darvel.
What's his name?
Wow.
Travis Stracy.
I thought you just said a slip of the tongue there.
There you
Couple
go.
of beers, that'd be very difficult.
Travis Stracy.
Travis Tracy.
So
Is he-
not
Is he on loan from Utah Saints or something like that?
I
Sounds
know.
very American, doesn't it?
Nathan McConnell with the goal for St Roch's. They're fighting anyway, but I don't see Glencairn. They're not going to lose 2 goals in the next 5 minutes.
And it's still 6 minutes to go up at Glencairn, and it's still 3-1 Glencairn.
Game
Maple.
over.
Yeah, unless you get some monumental collapse.
Listen, at the end of the day, as we said earlier, the medal Jamie won't be caring.
No.
He's safe. They can now. What Jamie will do now is he's now starting for next season. This season's done.
That's it.
This season's done.
They'll be back in next week for pre-season. I think they'll be back in early,
Aye.
given that.
What did we say? Well, we speak at length about the first division and how tight it is. I'd say the second division's been better this year.
Certainly, when you see it come down to
It's
the
been
last,
less up and down.
Title race,
Title-
definitely.
Title race, but even this relegation, you get into the last day where you could have 3 teams trying to avoid relegation potentially.
I think relegation side are still in title race. I don't know. Relegation's been exciting in the first division as well, but given you're saying it's come down to the last day, that probably just tips it for me.
Well, the second division is down to the last day for promotion.
Yeah, both ends.
Everything.
For being the champions,
Aye.
for getting promoted,
All promotion spots.
and
yeah.
for getting relegated.
That's crazy.
And
Oh.
2 weeks ago, we sat here, we said that, and it's not been an after timer, but we all said that Nielsen weren't the ones going to go up.
I know.
And they're going to go potentially.
They could be the champions.
Yeah.
So
That's
interesting.
a strange one again for me. Obviously, imagine the day going and win it, and you're looking at 14 times yet, like we never beat them all season.
I know.
Mad,
But,
isn't it?
Crazy.
Aye.
but we beat the other 11 teams.
Aye.
Yeah, we beat the other 11 teams 22 times.
It's mad.
It's commendable.
How do you think that of the 4,
We take it.
how do you think, who do you think's best placed to go up and sustain being up? The all 3 who go up at any
Do you know what's
three
funny?
level?
I'd say, in terms of the club as a whole, I'd say Whitlets.
I would agree.
I'd probably say Whitlets as well. Just really depends. Neilston's been a funny club the last couple of years. They've been up and down, up and down. Last year, the first division for them was a massive stretch.
Step too far.
I think, without being disrespectful, Kev brought in a lot of his Muir Cup players to step up a league and hopefully carry on, and that
The young team are back.
that just never happened. So the damage was done. But then you're talking the previous season before that, Chris Cameron's side were really pushing for promotion, and there was a really good shout for it, and they got hammered with injuries with something like 9 first team players out.
I thought Chris's team were good. I thought
Chris's
they played
team
good
were
football.
good. They were good. I'd re-signed again as well, and things were looking really good. And then it was just I get injured. Everybody get injured. There was like 10 injuries at one point. You were losing important players, and you just they wouldn't get back. They was wanting to bring in more players, and they just didn't do it. So it really struggled.
Beath 5-2 down against Hurlford, and we have an interesting one in the first division with a minute to go. Arthurlie have just equalised. Healy with the second goal of the game.
That
Could be enough to win them a championship.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones. It's great to win a championship anywhere, but it would always be nice to be able to win it at home.
Yeah.
Putting a selfish hat on it, I'm quite happy that maybe takes the wind at the sails of Peter's Hill for next week,
Maybe.
Maybe.
It's.
because they don't have anything to play for.
I suppose they don't have anything to play for the day either, and they've managed to push Arthurlie right to the very wire. But it's just it's funny because we're not really talking about the Premier League. There's no great deal to say in terms of the Premier League. Where
I've got a bit. What are you thinking of Glenafton Pollock 3-0?
do you know? I think that we.
Oh, sorry, just to butt in. Glencairn 3, Evan Meadow 2.
Oh,
It doesn't really
It doesn't matter now, I
doesn't
suppose.
matter.
Matters for
I suppose I thought the top end of the table.
Marky's just sent me in a video of the second goal.
Disney play.
It does play.
Does it play?
Aye.
Well, I never watched them, maybe first, so sorry, Mark. Brophy will go. Brophy, 88th minute. So we're maybe looking at 5 or 6 minutes left.
Aye. Here's a question for you guys. See, for me, what happens with Peter's Hill next season? Because they've been stuck in this limbo of 5th, 6th for the last 3-4 years. Stevie
Stevie
McNeil,
McNeil,
came
I
in.
know.
and it's just, I feel as if it's, I'm not saying people need to lose their job, not far from it. I just mean as a club, they're stuck and they just can't seem to take that extra step forward. They seem to be in this.
Does that look like the level that Stevie gets them to, and it doesn't seem to be? There's a next level for him.
But even before he came in, they
See-
were stuck in the same
see,
position.
for me-
It's no really.
Peter's Hill are like, if you look at in Scottish senior football, if you go to the Championship, they're like a Morton. for
Morton
me.
was exactly who I was thinking.
They're like a Morton for me. They'll always be in the league.
And they
They'll
could beat
always-
anybody.
They'll beat anybody. They'll take points for the top. There'll always be that.
Yep.
That, and it's not nondescript. Is that maybe
Aye.
the best sort of thing to say? And that's not being disrespectful. And please don't think of me. They're just a team that's a steady team, steady first division team. They know what they're doing. They go about their business. They're not going to win the league. They're not going to get relegated.
I just feel like they're wasn't that long ago Peasy won the league? Was he talking about 10 years ago, something like that?
No,
was it a wee bit older than that?
What, the
Premier
Premiership?
League? I'm sure they won the Premier League.
I'm not
10
even
years ago,
sure.
something
Not
like
even
that. I'm
sure.
sure they did. Could be top.
I don't remember
I don't think they won the
that.
Premier
At
League.
that, they were really tight, close to
They
it.
were,
They
they,
were
were, they, were
top three.
they were certainly up there.
Um,
That's going back to about 2000.
2-1 to Ashfield, 2-1 to Rob Roy against Ashfield. I know the league's done,
good result for them.
but that's further pushed them up the league
That's
there.
good, that's good for Gibby. That's finishing the season on a couple of positive notes.
Aye. But I mean, just for me, they've been pushing and stuck in that kind of limbo. They seem to be early front runners quite regularly in this league,
But they've done
but
nothing
they
to
drop. Aye, it's bizarre for me. I don't understand it, because I feel like you look at them every year and you think this could be their year. They could push on, and then at the end of the season they're sitting 6th, 7th again. You know, they seem to be top 3, top 4 for such a long period of time, then just slowly head back down the league.
It's like they get the points on the board early, then survive off it.
I think it's because they've obviously got the Ashfield Park next to their game.
Their games are always on.
So they build a lead quite quickly, but they always build a lead. They've lost a few games and maybe played a few games more than everybody else, but also it's points on the board. And it just, I don't know, it's just something I've noticed the last 4 or 5 years. I'm like, this seems to be the same old story.
It's perennial.
Aye.
So I was at the game when they won the league in the Conference C 21-22 season.
Who?
Petershill.
So,
No, so I was at that game. I did a vlog on that game. It was a cracker. I remember Hopi being absolutely fuming because if Petershill didn't, I can't remember if it was a win late on. They've no, I've got the.
they've no,
They've no one up, so I've got it there. Because I remember Hopi being raging. Because I had it lined up with Hopi that if Petershill didn't win, I was going to interview Hopi because the Drum would have won the conference. And Petershill got a penalty in the last minute to win the league.
I thought it was before the reconstruction they won it. I don't know what I'm thinking.
The
Either
last
that or they were
time-
very, very close.
They were West of Scotland winners 06-07, the Cup. Central Premier Division winners, years and years ago,
Nothing.
30 years ago.
They must have been really tight, because I can remember them being, it was Talbot and Petershill and Cumnock were sitting, I think, 3rd or 4th that year, and it was quite tight.
You're going back
That's just a bit,
12 years.
aye, for them to win it, aye, but that the year I'm talking about, I thought they won it, must have been about 15 years ago.
Glenafton, right, so we were actually talking about Glenafton Pollock. 4-0 to Glenafton. Now, we have been very much on this show, we've been very much Pollock being mid-table is fine because we know the situation. The budget's getting cut yet again. See, if I'm Maxi, I don't know if I'm staying. And I don't know if I'm Maxi, I don't know if I'm maybe getting, if you're going to get a better job elsewhere. But they're currently sitting 11th in the league. They're so hit and miss, it's unbelievable. It's not going to get any better for them. They could probably miss it on, because with 20, this is not a league reconstruction conversation, but if it's expected to go through 26, 27, the top 8 will go up, the top 8 licensed clubs will go up. I don't know if Paul can make any of that, because you look at just now, say Johnson Borough should have their licence put in, Talbot have got theirs, Troon should have theirs, St Cadoc's have pretty much got theirs, the Drum should have theirs,
Yeah.
Cumnock have theirs,
There's
Largs maybe, Glenafton have got theirs. You're struggling, 7 teams.
I think that,
Beef.
personally, I think given the
I don't know if
people-
they
Like Beef have got theirs.
They don't have theirs, but I don't know
They
if they'll get it yet either.
personally, I don't think that any more could be asked of Maxi.
No, I think in terms of what he's done is
And like we said with Jamie, I think it's Maxi's prerogative whether he wants to be there next
Yeah.
year or not, and what are the conditions, because the conditions that he was brought in to operate under is not what he's been given. The rug's been pulled from his feet a few times. He's having to deal with, they have had horrendous injuries, we understand that, but he's flinging in a lot of young boys as well.
Aye.
And he's running with a really, really thin. I sent him a text this morning, I had a laugh at him this morning. I said, so I take it you're playing centre forward, Chris is in midfield and Dax at left back. I think that what he's done this year in keeping them where they are has been a really good job. I think it's up to him to.
can you be bothered with that again?
And that's it, because
That's what I'm thinking about enjoyment. Is
how long did he do it with Rob Roy, and then left Rob Roy to perceive what's the biggest job in the West, and he's now seen Rob Roy in the new stadium and what's going with it, and he's also got a massive affiliation there. I don't think, and if Maxi did go, who did look at next?
How can you trust who's up behind you as well? But given the fact that you said the rug's been pulled under his feet a few times,
What I would say on the back of that, from my understanding, and I'll be genuinely honest, Dak tells me almost nothing that happens at Paul. So this is other things I hear. It's not coming for Dak. For what I hear is the committee just now are very open and they are trying their best to grow it. I think it's been previous people on the committee have just
promised and left.
I made such a poor job. And see, for me with Pollock, how can a club with that fan base, that location, how can they not be getting great sponsorship? How can you not be getting good sponsorship?
Guys, penalty from Muirkirk.
Oh, it's 1-0 still.
Still 1-0 to Cambuslang.
Oh.
Penalty from Muirkirk.
Interesting. I mean, that's
I said it's a long time to get in your box, because if they're throwing everything at it, there's going to be something. So,
and that takes Muirkirk into second place, 64 points.
And they
Nielsen
could
will be ahead of them in goal
Well,
difference
if they score.
if they score.
if they score, they can win the league as well on 67.
So just waiting.
The goal difference is
So
But-
it's like,
Nielsen are sitting at plus 39, and Muirkirk, if they score, will be 38. It's not 37.
37 still.
So it's Nielsen have just scored to make it 3-1.
That's a big
Darren Fletcher will go there.
Dills and Dale.
Muirkirk 1.
Oh,
Cambuslang 1.
that is a big one. That is a
Goal
massive,
scorer Hazlitt.
massive goal.
That changes the whole complexion.
That'll feel like a defeat for Cambuslang.
How interesting is this final day going to be? You're so lucky. You're in next week, aren't you?
I've got my niece's birthday party.
Oh,
It's it's myself, Johnny, and Paul who will be in here.
well, that's a good lineup then.
So we'll have a very busy afternoon. But as we were
But it
saying,
would have been
listen,
Full time,
it's only your niece.
full time ground.
Play
I know.
with
Full time 3-2 to Glencairn against the Meadow.
there we go.
There we go. Yes, as I was saying, I think that it's completely down to Maxie whether he wants to stay there next year. He's left Rob Roy where he was firefighting for
Aye.
10 years,
Yep.
and he's been into a bigger club to do even more firefighting. He's done a fantastic job. He's galvanised a lot of players and a lot of staff around him,
Mhm.
and he's just not had the resources that he was anticipating working under. So I think it's entirely up to him. And if he leaves, then it'd be really interesting to see how Pollock move forward.
Aye, I'd agree with that. As I said, it's no, given what's happened this season, it's not as attractive a job as
No,
it has been previously.
no.
It's now a difficult job. Where it's obviously always going to be a difficult
When was it?
job.
When was the last? When was the last time they won anything?
It's a while ago.
15 years ago or so.
Well, they won the old first division after getting
That's
relegated.
right, and straight. So that was a bit not far
Um,
off it. So that was the year Renfrew got battered off in the year before,
So that would
getting up in the
two-
playoffs.
So that'd been more than 15 years ago. That
Aye.
was about 2008.
Something like that. Aye.
so you're looking at that, and Pollock are not a big club anymore. No, sorry,
Big club name.
big club in name. That's the only thing they're
Big
biggest.
standings.
Aye,
Yeah.
it's like for me a bit like down south until the last season or two, trying to claim that Nottingham Forest are still a massive club.
Are they
But-
going to be guilty of falling into the Irvine Meadow complex as well? But because Irvine
Hope
Meadow
not.
still think they're a massive club in this, that, and by name they are a big club, but where they are doesn't back that up. Paul are maybe going off of what they've won previously, but in the last, say, 20 years,
Right,
they've not won much.
I'll put a question to you. If you were Maxi,
Mhm.
would you stay?
No.
Des?
Only if I was given cast iron assurances
Of what?
that what you're telling me is my working parameters at the start of the season, and if it's agreeable, they stay from that to the end of the season.
Right, so based on the budget they're going to have, which is less than 70 grand, I'd leave. Because I think Pollock might get relegated next year. Oh, sorry, they won't. They can't get relegated.
What do you think is the smallest budget in that league? Not monetary wise, but club wise. I think Largs would be pretty close to it.
I think Glasgow will be quite close.
I think Shots might be close to it as well. Largs and Shots.
Bends as well, surely.
I'd imagine so. But see, to be honest, you're expecting. I mean, they're going to lose Fordy.
Oh,
He'll be away.
100%.
Right, he's gone. And I think maybe the circumstances behind the scenes have partly been the reason why his season's not been
It's productive.
as productive as it has been. You know what I mean? So it's definitely.
It's I think it's unfair to make that judgment on somebody else's behalf. As I say, I think if it's agreeable at the start of the season what your terms are and you're agreeable to it, it has to stay that way to the end of the season. And
But even at that, Des, right?
That could change again.
But even at that, you say, I'm saying the budget will be less than
what
70 grand a year.
what extra can you do?
You're told that's exactly what it is in the committee. Good to the word, that's exactly what it is. But look where they are just now. They're a team who are in trouble.
I think it depends on his relationship as well. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes, how he feels, if he's comfortable with the committee, what their relationship's like. So it could be based on that. Also based on what he wants to do and what his expectations are and his goals going forward are, because they're not going to win the league next year. Do you know what I mean?
My concern if I was Maxi would be, can I get a bigger job? And I don't know if he can, because I don't see he's not getting a Talbot job.
Beef.
I don't know. Do you know? That's maybe fair. It's maybe fair. But again,
Beef money's been cut a lot.
Yeah, they're maybe similar.
Malcolm's
Maybe that's why Sean was brought in. That's why.
I think there's going to be a lot of change.
Anyway, guys, this is coming up to the final hour. We're going to do a calls round. Remember, we want you guys to get in touch with us. So please, honestly, get in touch with us on 07396 717 412 and on our social media channels at Sat Football Live. Well, you've had me for 2 hours in the driving seat. I'm about to jump into the back seat and you'll get your driving instructor back. But this will wait after the next couple of messages.
Two one. I think there'll be a lot of change.
And welcome back for the final hour of Saturday Football Live. We've just had a massive full-time result come in there. It finished 2-1 to Cambuslang. They managed to score after equaliser from Muirkirk. Managed to get a goal again. That's incredible. That we've been talking about this league all day, and it blows it wide open.
Yeah,
I'm shocked at 2-1. How raging Ross is it going to be at that? What an opportunity has just slipped away.
You only had 2 minutes to hang on as well.
That was it. So we went for, we were camping at their 18-yard box basically, giving away a penalty to breaking up the part and scoring a winner.
Yeah.
That's a massive result because that drops Yoker back in to relegation today. Cambuslang leapfrogged them up onto 29 points. Cambuslang still have a tough away game at Bonneton to finish, but Yoker have a tough home game at Neilston. So that's going to be one to watch next week as well, obviously, with Yoker, Cambuslang. See what happens there. Excuse me, but from a Muirkirk point of view, you'll be sick because that kind of blows it wide open for Neilston. If they win their next game, they win the league now, and Muirkirk can't do anything about it. It'll be a bit bittersweet because they could obviously still get promoted, Muirkirk, but you'll still be kicking yourself going, we had that opportunity there and we've blown that at the last kick.
It's just I'm perplexed at that. That's incredible to me. I don't know how that's actually happened, and it's just insane the fact that that they had that great opportunity and they've blown it.
I think something we've missed there as well. I think that could be it for the Ants as well.
Is that right? I've not.
They're on 25. Cambuslang have got up to 29. Yoka are on 28, so they need to win their last game, but the goal difference is massive. Goal difference.
Nah, that's the Ants.
That's
Pretty
it.
much relegated as well, then.
So I think that's that for them. So it's going to be a Cambuslang and Yoka next
To be
week.
fair, I think the Ants will be in a better position for coming up with a new management team coming in.
Yeah.
Obviously.
As we said, I think that's the level if we've been disrespectful to them. I think they're a third division team. And I think they'll go in there and they'll be quite competitive, actually, to be honest with you. But I think that's the level.
And we've spoken about this at length with the fact that the Ants are probably a third division side, and they'll be a good third division side.
I think they'll be all right, aye.
And how much better is that as well? See, if you're a player for the Ants, or a committee, a coach, or even a fan, to go and watch your team be competitive every week instead of the last 2 or 3 years where they've really struggled.
You're winning. You're on a positive frame of mind. You're at games. Just getting a message through there. That's the Port finished 2-0 winners like Rossvale.
Come on, the Porto, take it to the final day.
All to play for. All to play for. This is I just wee bit lost my words with what's going on
Have
in
we-
this league. Like Cambuslang pulling that, I never saw that coming.
Have we ever had a season where there's been so much riding at the top and bottom of three leagues?
I can't think. Do you know what I think it is? But I think we've had the reconstruction, we've had ups and downs in leagues are now beginning to show that they're on an even
They're at the
platform.
correct level.
Yeah, they're at the right level. That's the word.
This is something that me and Dak used to talk about when we did the channel together, and it was very much the conferences at first were so far apart.
Aye.
You had teams that were just getting battered
Aye.
10s and 11s occasionally, and it
Yep.
was just horrendous. You're probably right. It's probably
Taking
taken
that time.
2 or 3 years
That
for
was always gonna be
everybody
the case.
just
Yeah.
to get to. I mean, I know people will be sick of saying it, but you look at that. Look at that second division.
It's brilliant.
I mean, we're sitting here just before the break. Muirkirk goal, scored 64 points, tied top of the league. They're still having a good chance of winning
Yep.
it. A minute later, they're back out of the promotion
God.
spots.
Aye.
They were literally tied top of the league and out the promotion spots within a minute.
Aye. Well, they're back. They're on. But it's at 60. Where they get beat. So they're still in 63. So they're still where they are. Let me think. No, they're doing fourth now.
They're fourth.
They're doing
They're-
fourth.
As it stands,
Because Nielsen are down 64. Then you've got
The- the
63,
the big thing is
63.
for Muirkirk, they know that if they win next week, they're
It's in their
promoted.
own hands.
They know they're promoted because obviously Witless and Lanark playing each other.
What a game that will be, by the way. Witless and Lanark.
I know.
It's some end to the league. The thing is, Muirkirk haven't been blowing teams away. They've just been steadily putting results together, 2-0s, 2-1s, just getting the job done, which is absolutely fine. But they've got a young squad as well. And see whatever happens with Muirkirk this season, they've been a breath of fresh air in that league. Even if they don't go up, it's still been a good season. Nobody would have put Muirkirk in that position
And
at
they're
the start of the
away
season.
to Larkhall. So
It's a tough game, really tough game. But obviously Larkhall, they've got nothing to play for, but obviously sitting fifth, they've got fifth already sewn up, Larkhall. So it's mad because you've got those 4 teams so tight together. Larkhall are on their own in fifth, they're like 10 points behind, but they're also 12 points ahead of 6. So it's bizarre. And then if you're 6 down, it's quite tight again. So it's been a crazy league.
It's definitely. It's so hard to call it. I feel like it's not even like it's every couple of weeks we're changing our tune a bit. We're changing our tune every 15 minutes, depending on who scores a goal. And it's.
well, see, when we see Muirkirk getting a penalty in added time,
Well, that's it.
right, that's it.
Yep.
Done and dusted. We go for an advert, come back, and it's game changed.
I think Nielsen will win it now. I think it's just momentum's with them. They've obviously a couple of big results. They were going through that sticky patch, and then out of nowhere, the bang 6 by Cali Locals. That was a tough game today because also the Ants had something to play for. Pulled it back to 1 each. We could have went the other way. They came through that. That was a wee test. And then next week, you've got to be going there, but they could also slip up again thinking, we just need to win and that's us done. Do you know what I mean? But then Yoker have a lot to play for next week as well.
It's just so interesting how
Yeah.
you see how it's going to go. And I'll be sitting at my daughter's communion. Have have the wireless on, listening to you boys like Des.
Yeah.
Comments on the top right section. It's we're just I'm very much no having any clue how it's going to pan out. Now you look at, we'll take it to the Premier League just now. I mean, the Premier League's obviously finished.
Yeah.
We now have our 3 teams who are relegated. Potentially, we're still in the potential stage where Clydebank don't get promoted and Shots are gone as well. But look, it's interesting, but we're going to go to our good friend Johnny. 2-0 for the Rock.
Yep.
Relegates Mabel. See what Johnny's saying on that game.
Is that pen?
Hello.
I thought you weren't going to answer the phone. Oh,
Johnny, it's Dennis. How you doing? Good, mate. Good. How did it finish? We've obviously seen the result coming in. How was the second half?
Mabel started the second half pretty well. I know that George had obviously let them know that Rutherglen were beating Irvine Meadows, so they came out kind of fired up. But still didn't really get anything of note. And then, as we said, Mabel kind of pushing, and then St Roch just get the first, and then they kind of got the second, just killed it basically. So it was kind of as I suspected it would go at half time.
Johnny, I know the game is just finished. Have you had the opportunity to see George, or how did he look at the side of the park?
Okay, I mean, he looked as you would imagine when you know you've just got relegated, but we kind of knew he kind of knew this was a distinct possibility. So it would just be really about getting his head down now that's decided, and getting his head down and looking to try build next year. But I was even talking to some of the Mabel fans in the crowd. They were kind of saying, look, if we go down, and at least we'll be able to go and compete and win some games and enjoy it and stuff like that. I think the mood around the whole place was kind of preparing for it. So hopefully they can just build for next year and no kind of angle, just shake it off as quickly as possible.
We were just talking about the Ants there, how getting relegated, they're pretty much relegated today based on goal difference. And it's just that you've said, we're talking about the Ants when they go into the third division next year. Sometimes relegation's not the end of the world, and for Mabel, they'll be a competitive team in that second division next year. So it's in the grand scheme of things, knowing that George is still relatively new to the post, it's no really the end of the world.
No, definitely not. And you just need to look at the teams that will be coming up from the third division, the teams that will be leaving the second division, going into the first or whatever. So it'll be a competitive, but I think there's no reason why, if he signs the right players, that they can't be up the top end of the table pushing for promotion. And he done it at Lugar last season, so he can do it again.
Definitely. We'll see how it pans out from. But Johnny, thank you very much for your update today, and I hope you get a factor 50 on that Bobby Raptors.
Don't worry. And I'll get speaking to St Anne's, I'll get the St Anne's manager in the show tomorrow, so hopefully they can tune in and find out a wee bit more about his plans for next season and beyond.
Beautifully plugged, mate. I was just about to ask you as well. Right, well, you and Monty have a good show tomorrow, mate, and I'll catch up with you later.
Right, mate. Never miss a chance to get a plug in. See you later. Ta-ra. Bye.
I realised why the call didn't work with Mark. You knocked the button off for your mic.
I'll be turned off.
You knocked the button off for your mic.
Sorry a minute. You set the buttons up, no me.
No, because I just fixed it.
Did you fix mine by any chance? Because mine seems a lot different.
No, I
Have you done
didn't.
something?
So
Something's changed.
I never touched.
You've obviously had a button, Des.
Something's changed there. I can hear myself now.
I've only ever touched the red button.
That is
Never
obviously,
been.
it's obviously an accident.
Panic push.
That's all it was. It's just a wee accident. So just for, if that happens again with a call, it's that button right there, and we're good to go.
You can show me then.
No worries.
Try to cut you off.
Not at all. Not at all. I
Is that-
could cut you off right now and just hit that button.
Is that a Girls Aloud song? Push the button.
I don't know.
No, that was actually Sugar Babes.
Was it? All right.
Yeah, so
Wow.
yeah, a music quiz I can always do pretty well on as well. Show Park. Rob Roy.
That's the fiercer, darling.
Rob Roy 3-1 against Ashfield. But I think they'll be obviously happy with how the season's finished. it could have been a lot worse for them. You've messed up. You've changed the league table as well for me. Honestly, Des.
So he done to your working class laptop as well.
Honestly,
Wrecked it.
He's a wrecker of
No, you wrecked yours.
me. I did that on that one.
Yeah,
Des
you did.
did it on this one.
That's because I don't have an Apple.
Yeah.
I know I've got very upper class,
Mhm.
paid on finance and everything. But in that first division, Mabel gone. It is what it is for them. George is obviously still going to be there again if he chooses to be. But
I think the biggest thing you can take from that, Mabel have been relegated, but it's nothing to do with George.
No.
Absolutely nothing to do
he
with
gave
him.
it a fight.
He did.
He did. They were
He's given,
competitive.
he's given them a longer fighting chance than probably was expected,
Absolutely.
and now he's got the opportunity to really have a go at it. He done well with Luger, getting Luger up the league, so I've seen no reason why he wouldn't be a success at Mabel next year.
Yeah.
What I would say is Gibby's got Rob Roy into 10th place.
I said that, just looking at it there, yeah.
With a game in hand, I mean, they could potentially be looking at 9th place finish. For me, that's a decent job considering.
Considering how close and perilous they were to be in the relegation zone. Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago, they were literally, if the results didn't go their way, they were going to be 14th. But I hope they push on next year. As I said, they've got a young squad and that, and I think obviously job done. We've stayed in the league. Now we've got to look on to next year and see if we can try and push on and get one of those promotion spots.
So it was a 97th minute winner for Cambuslang.
7 minutes added on. Do you know what? Probably the penalty, or the build-up to it and everything else.
Have we spoken about the Villa Clyde and Burnley game?
2-0 to Kilmarnock, 2-0 to Villaclyde,
3-0.
3-0. So there you go. That's, do you know, that's
They've got
John Hughes deserves a huge amount of credit for the fact that they're sitting at 39 points. They're more than safe. 2 back-to-back promotions. They've done a tremendous job with limited resources there.
Yeah, massive.
I'm actually just sorry.
No.
I'm actually just looking at the Kilmarnock team for today. They only actually fielded 4 subs. Gavin Miller, surprisingly starting, must be injured. Brad Cooper, the other 2 subs. Willie Lyle and Colin Spence.
So that tells you a lot about where they're at just now as well.
And there was no Danny Bamford and there was no John Scully.
13 players. That's. And if Cav Miller's on the bench, he's probably been injured.
Sorry, Bamford was at right back. They had no Jamie in goals either.
So they're in a right position just now. It's
a lot of fucking holidays as well. It sounds silly, but there is. I know Kenny was telling me during the week that St Peter's going to the KO. We've got so many players missing.
Who's putting the holidays just now?
I know.
Wait till June.
Exactly. You don't know what position you were going to be in towards this time of year, so why would you book a holiday?
Wait
Do you know
till
what I mean?
June. That's
But he was saying if they were struggling for bodies as well, because obviously there's a few boys on holiday and things, and I thought the same thing. Why would you book on holidays in May?
I know. Who would? I don't know if it's changed, right? The back from back in my day.
Yeah.
But there's no way I'd have it. She would have known June and July we can go on holiday, whatever.
Yeah.
We're not going away until June.
Yeah.
And I don't know why you would be booking a holiday.
It's a different generation, that's the thing. It's
Cheaper holidays.
well, that's it. Aye, May, you get a decent deal.
Still, the schools don't finish until the end of June, so it's not making a difference.
No,
Tell
if you
me
don't go to
about
school.
Aye, but that affects your prices.
100%.
So, I mean, there's both of us suffer from that.
I don't go on holiday until the 29th of July or something. I'm away.
No, on the 2nd of July. 2nd of July, the first week after the schools finish, I'm straight into it. But I feel like, well, we've had such an up and down day. We've not had a full card today. We've still had a decent amount of fixtures. The Premier League table is all but finished today. Talbot look like they've got themselves that second spot. What would we rate the Talbot season?
I think it's been a good season in the end. They had a really slow start. League-wise, they've had a really slow start. They've only lost 4 games. Again, in the league. That's title winning form. But again,
Any other
Clyde
season?
Bank have had a crazy season and just blowing everybody away.
So I'm going to cut you off here, Scott, and we'll come back to that. I'm just going to go to Jamie McKim after there. their defeat to Glencairn today for staying up.
Oh,
Jamie, we were talking on the show. We were unsure how you'd be feeling. Would imagine you probably would have taken this today before the game, losing 3-2. But if Clydebank, assuming Clydebank go up, you could be safe today. How are you feeling after that one?
I wouldn't have taken that result before the game, PG, to be honest. And I think, to be honest, the result's incredibly harsh on us. In the first half, I've no excuses. The 3 goals that we conceded, we make it difficult for ourselves with the first one. Second one to them, they worked it well for throw in, but the third one, they concede a penalty. But we have a perfectly good goal disallowed in between. Second half, we were excellent. Very, very good. Much the better team. But see, to be fair, at times, you know yourself, you can be down 3-0 and it's easy to play. Pressure off, but we weren't overly bad in the first half. It was the individual mistake that killed us, which is a massive, massive frustration. But it takes us into the final day. Obviously, we're not in the bottom 3, but we need to go down next week and take as many points as we can.
No, I know it is quite. I understand what you're saying, and it's quite a difficult one because this is where we obviously have the problem with our setup as well, where in normal circumstances you would be saying, look, it's not been brilliant, but the remit when you came in was to keep the team up. But now we need to wait till after the season's finished to find out exactly where you're going to be. But how have you been looking back? How have you been feeling with how your time at the Med has gone so far?
See the amount of points we've taken, I feel as if we've given ourselves a really, really good chance. I think over the course of it, it's been a success to this point. But the ultimate defining moment will be whether we stay in the league or not. That's what I put on it. That's kind of my expectation. And I would love to go. I don't know what is above us now, to be honest. I don't know what the points is, but I think there's a chance if we go next week, we can climb the spot. Is that right?
As it stands right now, you are currently in 12th place. Rob Roy won today, so they jump a couple of places. You are 1 point clear of Ardrossan, who they play next week. They didn't have a game today, so you're a point clear of Ardrossan. Am I right, Scott?
2 points behind Ardrossan.
Oh, sorry, did it? I'm not reading that, Jamie. I must be reading this.
Sorry, Jamie, you're 13,
Aye.
you're 33.
2 points behind, but I think we've got a better goal difference, haven't we? So there's an extra. I think we need to go and win this.
If you go and win.
The table's just been updated, so I was looking at it as if that wasn't the updated table. But look, you definitely would prefer it. But look, Jamie, commiserations on the defeat today, but you know you're going in potentially with the fact that you'll be a massive Clydebank supporter for the next couple of weeks anyway.
So dependent on next week. Listen, I see my message to the players and the just go and look after ourselves, go and try and win the last game, see where it takes us, and then whatever's out of our hands, then so be it. But listen, I think to this point, when I was looking at the table the other day when we first came in, we were gone. We should have been gone with the points. I think we need points. So it was a case of we've done a lot of good work since then. The boys deserve a lot of credit, but we have let ourselves down in the last few weeks. We shouldn't be in this spot. But listen, it is what it is, and we'll just approach this week with a bit of positivity. Go and try and win a game next week.
Jamie, I'm going to need to apologise to you here, right? Because we get conflicting. It's hard because the league table's not been updated, right? Ardrossan did not play today, and I think they were on 35 points. You guys were on 33 points.
Yep.
So you're still 2 points behind them. So we're going to clear that. So you're nearly there. You do indeed. They are
Just
minus. No, sorry, you're both -8, but you both scored the same amount of goals and conceded. But you've scored more goals than I'm sorry. So you're both same goal difference, but you've got more goals for.
Right. So we just need to go and win next week and see how it goes. That's it, I think.
That's it, exactly, mate. But look, all the best next week, mate. Thanks for coming on as always.
Cheers, guys. See you later.
See you later. Good maths for me there. Good maths.
I think you were thinking if they'd won.
One,
If
aye.
they won next week, I was looking at it and like, what are you talking about?
I
They
know.
could beat the day.
I know.
But no, again, that's going to be a hard game for Jamie next week. Although that's Maple going. They're at home. You want to win your last game of the season.
No pressure.
Exactly.
They
And it's-
just go and play, and it's
they should. The only way they're going to really get in is if it's a Clydebank situation. So it'll be interesting to see. It's a good run. Kirkcaldy, obviously, but it takes them up to 37 points. So we're up to 9th or 10th now. So, yep, it's been very tight down there this season.
definitely. I think that obviously what's helped a lot of teams is that Blantyre and Ashfield
Yeah.
have been so far off it.
Mhm.
When you look at Ashfield, conceded 110 goals.
I don't know what's happened there.
They basically had to rebuild their squad.
I know, but
When Mick left,
Mhm.
pretty much everybody left. And then obviously Neil Schoenwell's come in. He's not been able to fix it.
No.
I don't blame him for that. And Peter Hill's there. He's clearly not been able to fix it yet. But I can imagine his whole focus just now has been on
I thought
what's next season.
Maxie went back in there. Paul Maxwell.
No,
I
he's
thought
he's still the boss. He's the main man.
Right.
Could you see Maxie getting back involved with the team?
No, I don't think so. I don't see it. I think that Maxie is very good behind the scenes, and there's a lot of good work going on at Ashfield that Maxie's put a lot of time and effort into. And I also think that maybe he's got a young family and stuff. I think that maybe it suits him.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it won't happen, but Peter Hill's just been brought in as well.
Mhm.
So he's been brought in, having been the 20s manager, with the hope, with the hope that he'll be able to bring in
Bring
young
them
players.
through,
Aye, and that's for me. I think Ashfield might have a tough season next season
I
as
was
well.
about to say that, given how far they've been off this season, like to only win 2 games, I think they might still go next season.
Because I think Blantyre Vicks will be better
Aye.
next season.
Aye.
Mabel will still be it'll be a good team in the second division next season. But then you're looking at one of Whitlett's, Lanark, Muirkirk or Nielsen
Yeah.
will still be in the division. Lark Hall still there. Mary Hill, I think, are on the up. I think Coolside Rangers are on the up.
Bellshiller's funny team.
Belchiller, fantastic team. But not even just that. You've got the Thorner coming up.
Yeah.
Coolside Athletic are a good side. And Greenock are a good side.
Yeah.
It'll be
It's got
interesting
a tough league.
how Coolside Athletic got on coming up, considering the fact that Bailey's leaving.
We're barely leaving,
Mm,
I know. And it's interesting, but we're talking about that third division there. So I'm going to go to newly promoted Greenock manager, Gary Fleming. See what Gary's got to say after the convincing win today.
Hello.
Lemmy, congratulations on your promotion and a massively emphatic win today. How are you feeling after it?
Aye, good mate. We're not quite promoted yet. So
Sorry, mate. I only looked at Aldean. I didn't look at three. My apologies, but congratulations on an emphatic win.
aye, thanks a lot, mate. Thank you. Absolutely buzzing. The boys were outstanding today. And they've been outstanding for the last 2 or 3 weeks now. And even heading into training this week, you could tell there was a real edge to training, and the boys were on it for a warm up. You know, I just had a good feeling about it today, and they put on a show. So absolutely buzzing. So we know that Threave have won today, and they need to play another 3 games Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. So we just need to look after ourselves next Saturday, and we'll see what happens through the week to see how its significance next Saturday is going to be.
You touch on how the boys were during training and in the warm up, and obviously they looked like they were in form for it. You must be really pleased with. I know Fnatic are having some issues just now, but you must be really pleased with the fact that you lost 4-1 to them less than a month ago, and then today you go and turn it around with such a big margin.
Definitely, and to be honest with you, like you've been in dressing rooms as well. You kind of almost need to dangle a carrot a wee bit. I kind of used that a wee bit to motivate the players. So they definitely put a wrong right today. That's for sure.
Looking at next week's game, you've touched on the fact that Threave have quite a few games during the week to get the season finished. You guys are at home to Lugar, a team you only beat last week. How are you going to prepare for this one, and what are you going to say to your players during the week?
Well, we need to treat it right. Lugar were decent. Lugar were decent. It was 1 each at half time down there. Threave went there and only won 2-1. They've got a boy McIver who's scoring a barrel load, and it was a handful when we played down there. So we need to be at our absolute best. And what I was actually trying to say to the players before the game today, and they knew the significance of the game, and sometimes when a game's so significant, you get a bit of nerves, and boys don't actually play their their usual game. So it was trying to keep them grounded. They're all on a part to play specific roles because they've got specific strengths, and it was just kind of keeping to the basics of that. And they've done that so well today. So it's pretty much more of the same. High tempo, top quality training, and then next Saturday, just play your own game. If everybody plays their own game, I've got all faith that they can come out with 3 points at the other end, and who knows, it might be a promotion as well.
Well, mate, fingers crossed for you, and sadly I won't be in the studio next week, but if you get yourself promoted, I will be passing your number on to Des, and he'll give you a phone and get a wee chat with you. But look, mate, congratulations again today, and all the best next week.
No bother. Thanks a lot, mate. Cheers. See ya.
See you, mate. I need to have a hold of myself. It's the end of the season. I'm getting tired.
Just get a wee goal flash here as well. It's now 2-1. He scored
Excellent. That's a good result there.
Yeah.
We were talking about the Talbot,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll do it after the break. Actually, I just realised the time there.
Sorry.
So our last break. So remember, if anybody listening or watching wants to get in touch with us, the number is 07396717412. That's 07396717412. You can get us on WhatsApp there, or you can get us on X and Instagram at Sat Football Live, and you can get us in the comments section on the YouTube Live. Remember, if you want to phone in, just give us a shout on on WhatsApp. We'll get you on if there's anything you want to talk about with your team. If you're a Pollard fan who wants to weigh into the discussion that we've just had there, where does Maxi stay? Should he stay? Or if you're a Talbot fan and you think, do you know what, we've had a great season. It's been an A season for us. Winning a cup, getting ourselves into second place by the looks of it, then give us a shout. Don't hesitate to get in touch with us. We'll be right back after the break. Or you can get us on the YouTube comments. Just slide right in there and get a wee chat with us. So we were just talking, twice we tried to talk about it, Scott. Twice I interrupted you. So it's your go, mate. Auchinleck Talbot.
No,
Before we do that, though.
No, I'm not buying it this time. No, I do think they've had a really good season. As I said, obviously Clydebank have had this streak season that's kind of blown them out of the water, but their form has actually been in any other season title winning form. Most 4 games, maybe also the 9 draws has been a wee bit.
In that earlier season form, probably.
Aye, as I said, they had a lot of draws at the start of the season, but they're still picking up points. But they've goals against, 28 goals all season as well. They've had a really, really good season. Obviously, they won the West? The other week as well. Got a trophy in the bag as well. So
you're touching on the Talbot's goals against.
Mm-hmm.
Not a coincidence that your top 3 teams are quite convincingly the best defensively in the league.
Yeah, I'd say so. And the strange thing is, Borough have obviously lost a lot of games recently as well. So they've been conceding goals, so their goals against is obviously pretty solid as well. But for me, I think Talbot probably going to next season as favourites. The way they're finishing this season.
Des, do you think that's a fair comment? Scott, themselves.
No, I was
Yes,
doing my throat.
yes, that is Des.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that is a fair comment, Des.
Certainly is.
I think that Talbot are always going to go in there as one of the favourites.
Yeah.
The bit I'm most surprised at, away from Talbot, I'm looking at Borough. Borough have only scored 45 goals this year.
I know.
That's less than 2 a game.
I know.
And for the firepower and the ability they've got in squad, I'm really obviously that's why they brought Diver in, because he was a proven goal scorer when he was at Bede previously, just maybe not kicked in so far this season. But going back to the Talbot point, you can never bet against Auchinleck. I think they made a lot of changes over the summer. It's maybe taking a wee bit of time to bed in, but again, it's the quality of Tucker and his coaching staff, that what he's got out of them. I don't think there was bigger turnover this year in the summer. I think there may be a couple of additions.
And the younger players they've brought in the last couple of years
have
now
got
with the experience.
I think they did what they had to do at the time.
Aye.
Kick on again.
No, I was just looking at
again, they're still they're committed and they're still winning.
Exactly.
And we're saying potentially seconds a failure.
I was just looking at the last 2 league seasons. So Bede won it 2 years ago with 66 points, which would have been a comfortable one for them this season as well. Last year they won it with 60 points, which would have meant that they'd have probably just won it a game or two before the season finished. So it would have been pretty tight as well.
Yeah.
So with the Borough, well, actually looking at it, so see, to be honest, 60 points won it for Bede last year. The Talbot can still get 60 points this season.
Exactly. So that's what you're looking at.
For a normal season,
Consistency.
that's pretty acceptable to go and win a league title.
Again, we can't take it away from Clydebank though. They've had a freak season.
I mean,
finish the season on 77 points potentially.
Aye, that's a lot.
It's what they deserve that.
Aye.
I mean, the Scottish Cup run was great. They gave a good account of themselves against Hibs.
Yeah.
In the other cups they probably did all right, but they were probably pretty happy to come out of them when they did.
Aye.
League form's been sensational, and you look at Musselburgh and the
East.
No, sorry. So they're the 17th, is it? They play Musselburgh?
Next week, is it not?
No. Is it?
It's
This week. It's next week. Sorry, next week, 17th and the 25th.
Aye.
So you look at that. They finished 77 points. Clydebank. They have, haven't they? I'm just looking at it.
No, they're 74 now. They've
74.
still got another game to play.
What's that? No, it's not even coming up for me on the.
No, I think it's refreshed.
It's refreshed now. You click it.
So you look at the league frame up. 77 points. That's them finished today, right? So 77 points for that. It's an incredible season.
Yeah,
it's a sensational season. But even when they've had the league win, they're still getting it and winning games. No, we're talking about the Tal. We're talking about Largs and the Borough, who have got their eye on the semi-final of the Scottish Cup and no having a great run of form. It's not happened for Clydebank.
No.
The tiniest of blips when they lost to Largs, and then apart from that, they've been borderline flawless.
Sensational.
I think they've just got such a good squad.
That is the key
as well. What I like about it is the fact they've not just thrown money about left, right, and centre. But you see a lot of clubs doing that these days. They've built a squad over a number of years.
They might have spent quite a bit this summer.
Yeah,
this year, but
they've given that extra push. So they've got the base of a good squad, so they're just adding bits of quality that are going to get them, and it's paid off to be there.
And what they've done is they went and bought what, to all intents and purposes, the best goalkeeper in the league and the best centre half in the league.
Yeah,
proven winners at this level.
100% been there and done it. So
they're not buying players from the leagues above.
No,
because let's be honest, there's enough quality in that West of Scotland Premier League that you can go and get players there who are easily good enough for leagues above.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
And I think I know we don't see enough games anymore since we've been doing this, but if you were to pick a team of the season based on players and positions, you're probably going to have about 6 or 7 Clydebank players.
Definitely, and they merit it. And you're looking at the Talbot. I think, Scott, you could be right. I asked the question it is. I think you could be right that this looks like next season the Talbot maybe go push on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
They've had a couple of years where it's been a wee dip, and it looks like they're going up again.
It's like a juggernaut, I feel. But they
Mhm.
just seem to keep refreshing and going again and going again and going again.
They attract players.
Aye.
They attract.
The right type of mindset for me.
Yeah.
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 It's because
It's
they don't have the budget that they do have a good budget, but they don't have the budget that some of the other clubs have, and they don't pay. I know for a fact, speaking to somebody involved at the club who said to me, "We're not willing. They probably could afford it, but they're not willing to go and pay the wages that some other clubs are." And I think that's commendable as well.
Yeah, that shows you why they're such a sustainable club.
Yeah, exactly. 'Cause they've done it over such a long period of time.
The Talbot had their wee blip a few years back, quite a few years back now, with the tax stuff. But they hadn't paid the tax properly, and they got a bit of doing for that. So that's what for me have been the reason they've really nailed it in and done well. Similar to Clydebank.
Mhm.
Obviously Clydebank went out of business. I don't know, looking back to a long time into the 90s, but
30 years ago.
they went out of business. But they're running a model that's so sustainable.
And Grace, the chair lady, she won't let it be any other way.
No.
Live within their means.
And they've pushed the ball out at exactly the right time.
That's what I was saying about the squad. Like they had a good squad there, and they've spent a bit of money, but they've pushed a wee bit at the right time. You said to get the wee bit extra quality in, and obviously it's put them over the line.
It's and do you know, maybe get slagged for being a fanboy, but they have one of the best managers at the level as well.
Yeah.
I think. So,
Who maybe at times could have done a wee touch better than he did. He was always very competitive, and maybe there's times that I think should have done a wee touch better.
Mhm.
But you look at it now, he's got the players, he's got
See,
the
when
squad, and he's done it comfortably.
Aye.
See, when they brought him in, he'd only spent a few years at Ross Vale.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And
it's
he did
not-
really well there.
Yeah, and it's not as if he's got this vast managerial experience behind him. He's got vast playing experience behind him. He's played for Clydebank, so he knows what Clydebank's all about. He's done his couple of years apprenticeship at a lower level at Ross Vale. He's came into Clydebank. He's obviously put his own mark upon it,
Yeah.
set his own standards of what he's looking for, and built gradually.
Mhm.
He's got a solid base, and he's just gradually
Yeah.
picked up.
We've just had a question in from Martin Thurston who says, "What about Cumnock? Full rebuild at the beginning of the season, decimated with injuries and get players back, and it's night and day." He was critical of Swifty, but they've turned it around. Well, Martin, we actually said that earlier on the show. Myself in particular was critical of Cumnock. Spent a lot of money, really no good enough. I think that if Swifty can keep the team on the trajectory that they've been on for the last 8 weeks, 10 weeks, then I think Cumnock could be a wee outside shot for a top 3 or 4 finish next season.
He's just taking the words out of my mouth. Obviously, for the time that I was in the chair there, it was exactly what I said. Swifty's come in with a whole new team.
Mhm.
Yes, he's had a fair chunk of money to go put at it, but just because you've got money doesn't mean you build a team.
No.
And now he's getting his players back from injury. He's putting it together. I wouldn't be surprised to see come up. I didn't say top 3. I think top 5, certainly
Yeah.
a attainable top 5. And once you're in that top 5, anything can happen. All it takes a couple of results to go for you again
And all they need is top 8.
to get that move.
I think that's attainable for them.
Oh, very much
Definitely.
so.
I mean, you're looking at it, they're 7th. Lards need to win the last 2 games. I think they've got eyes on other things at the moment. So just for talking sake, say they finish 7th. Good season end up.
So, well, the highest.
Solid.
Who was it that said it to us? I think maybe Johnny that said it. This and the
Premier
the
League.
new setup in the Premier League, it's the highest they've ever finished.
Really?
Mhm.
I'm surprised at that.
So I think Cumnock have been. We say about Paul being a big name,
Mm-hmm.
but only a name now.
Yeah.
I think Cumnock have been a wee bit like that for quite some time.
Yeah.
They were probably living off the Scottish Cup wins in 79 and 89 and having good crowds against the Talbot.
Mhm.
And I can speak from experience having played there. They're a big club in a sense, well-supported club, but they're not the levels that they probably think they should be at.
Mm-hmm.
And they've always had, in my eyes, whether a Cumnock fan would agree or disagree, I think they've always had the eye on the Talbot, being like, well, that's the Talbot.
Yeah.
They're the bigger team at the 2 years.
They're the little brother.
Aye, the little brother who will we see them maybe trying to emerge out of the shadow next season, potentially, if they've got the backing and Swifty can add 2 or 3 good players,
Mhm.
then was to say they can have at least a good season.
sure hope so. Because I like Cumnock. I think the way they've went about their business in terms of the way they've obviously the regeneration in the stadium and things like that as well. They're trying to do things in the right way in order to move forward, because they obviously know they're sitting in this position, been sitting mid-table. They want to push on. So I think you're right. I think you might see them start to emerge a wee bit more. They're doing the right things to put themselves in the right position to kick on.
And it's been a few years of, like you touch on it, with the regeneration of the stadium. Something I noticed in particular, myself and Dak did an interview. It was when Tony and Branco were in there, so it was a few years ago. And something I would give massive credit to the committee coming, because everything is about the community.
Yeah,
they are so community driven.
I went down there a couple of years ago with my oldest son. In fact, I've done it twice. They have a boys' club tournament. It lasts for the whole weekend, and it's probably one of the best run tournaments. It's all done on the pitch. They've got the burger stalls, they've got the club open. It was fantastic. As you said, it really is a community-focused club. And it's great to see that the community do back it.
Yeah.
The community get right behind it. You only need to look at the Auckland Light Cumnock games. Look at the crowds.
I know.
I mean, I've refereed them numerous times. And I remember my first one, we actually had to hold the kick-out off for about 20 minutes just to let the crowd in.
I know.
It was wild.
It's probably one of the games I was playing it with. But it's massive. We're going to go to Arthur. We're going to respond about it. Arthur, champions.
Yep.
Congratulations to Arthur. I'm going to put a wee banner up just now on YouTube. Congratulations to Arthur on winning the First Division title. Been a long time coming for them. In my eyes, they are a Premier League side who will be really looking to maintain their status next season as well. Well, I suppose if reconstruction happens, they will anyway, regardless. But excellent season for them, and they've thoroughly deserved it, Scott.
Absolutely. It's obviously been a long season for them, because obviously a lot of games to catch up on as well. So that could also become an issue for you as time goes on. But they've been excellent all season. You can't say anything other than that. They've totally deserved it. They've by far been the best team in the league. I feel the results have been very, very consistent. So for me, yeah, massive congratulations. And it'll be interesting to see how they fare going up next season, to see if they'll struggle or if they'll kind of consolidate, or what would you think, Des?
I think, given they've got a new manager in, he will automatically want to bring in a few of his own players. He's been at a higher level when he was at Stirling Albion. He was also at East Kilbride. He's got them across the line. It's maybe taking a wee start here and there, but ultimately, Arthur have been the best team. The groundwork he's done. Kevin's carried it on. He's done well. I would still anticipate maybe 4 or 5 new faces I can see coming in. I don't think they'll stay the way they are. I really think it's a massive game next week. You've got Glencairn, they've got Blantyre. You can anticipate Glencairn winning that. We've got Peasy at home, and Corinna have got St Roch's at home.
That's mad. So obviously the Rock can't go up.
The Rock can't go up.
They can. They've got 2 games to play.
No, that's
That's not been updated.
That's not been updated. So that they've got 1 game left, and it's against Corinna. So, but they could have an impact on whether Corinna go up.
So I think Glencairn are up, and I now think it's between Renfrew and Corinna.
Des, what would it mean to you if Renfrew go up?
It would mean the absolute world. The absolute world. I think it would be. I'll have my Renfrew shirt with me next week. I'll be sat in that.
Good.
Sat in that chair. I will be. I'll
tell you what. See if the Port win the league next week. I will phone in, and I will be going off my nut if the Port can get the championship next week, which I don't think they will. But if they can, I'll be absolutely thrilled with it.
Just look at the last fixtures. Glencairn against Blantyre. You've got to think Glencairn are going to win that.
Think so.
So I think we're now down to 2 for 1. 2 teams, 1 post. I know Corinna, they're at home against the Rock, and we're at home against Peters Hill.
The thing is, Renfrew don't even have to win.
No, no.
A draw for Corinna. Renfrew can lose and get promoted on goal difference if Corinna don't beat.
I know.
So a draw is enough.
It's a precarious road to get in, though.
I know that. But
again,
we don't.
you couldn't just win the game.
Listen,
You take it at NDLC's hands.
Jimmy will be having kittens for 90 minutes. I tell you, to know the position I wouldn't want to be in next Saturday. I wouldn't want to be the referee at Renfrew v Petershill.
No.
I know it'll be tense. Do you know what I've just realised? I'm just going to look ahead to next week's fixtures. So Campbelltown lost to
New Mains.
Newmains today.
Mhm.
And they're playing Royal Albert tomorrow. So that's the 2 times this season they'll be playing
Back to back.
back to back, and it's quite impressive. Then we've Glasgow United and Threave on Monday.
Would you think Glasgow United, of all the teams, have had the poorest season on expectations?
I think they're up there
Mhm.
because
I was
they're down there.
I was thinking about it this morning. We were talking about manager of the year and team of the year and teams that have went above and beyond. I was trying to have a wee look through it at 7:30 this morning, thinking which teams have not lived up to expectation, and is it just because
What would you expected for them though?
I would have expected Glasgow United to be in the consideration for promotion.
Really?
That would have been the same. If you take Goodwillie's goals out of there,
Relegated?
they're gone.
Mhm.
They're gone. I think they've been really poor this season. Really surprised as well, to be honest with you. I think they just want the season to finish, to be honest with you. I think I've heard a lot of murmurings. I thought a couple of weeks ago, they were saying they just want the season to finish. It's obviously been well below their expectations, and
That'd be beneficial for Threave on Monday.
And I look at it, I mean, Perthshire, Glenvale, who are recently promoted, Girvan, no disrespect to these clubs, but Glasgow United have got more behind them and more about them in these teams.
I think the thing for me with Glasgow United is they're a one-man band behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Which is the big thing as well. We're looking towards Wednesday. Arthurlie, I've got Rob Roy, Thorneywood, I've got Kilbirnie, Talbot and Troon in the Premier League. In the 3rd division, Glasgow United play Glasgow Uni, Irvine, Vix and Threave. So Threave have got a fair bit of travelling to do over the next 5 days. Of two games away. So it's quite interesting there. We've even got a Friday night game next week, Cali Locals against Gorside Rangers. And then on the Saturday, we have, it's an interesting one, the Saturday, 32 games. Every division has a full card apart from the Premier League, just Pollock and Talbot.
Mhm.
We're looking at Blantyre, Vix and Glencairn. Since we'll talk about a wee couple of minutes on each division. Blantyre, Vix, Glencairn. How would you see that one playing out? Just quickly, how do we see that going?
Glencairn.
Glencairn, agree. Colwyn and St Rochs.
Draw.
Tough, eh? Because Deju kind of gone very safe in a sense, and then he said to have the big pause, and I don't know myself, to be honest with you. I don't know if Colwyn have it in them to win.
That's why I'm going to draw.
I'm going to go the Rock.
So we've got Renfrew promoted. Renfrew, Petershill.
No comment.
Renfrew.
I would lean towards Renfrew as well, and it's going to be a massive game.
We finish here at 5 o'clock, and I know my wife won't be listening to this, but Sharon, you can pick me up at New Western Park Sunday morning if it's as
I'll
well.
tell you what, if Renfrew win the league and I can get away next Saturday, I'll come and meet you.
That's the thing, we've got my niece's birthday, and it's at my father and mother-in-law's house. So it's in Renfrew, just up the road.
So we all meet
So
at
it'll
New
be
Western Park.
chaos. Renfrew will be chaos. So
We could be meeting at New Western Park next week to have a celebration.
Dean Park, you know.
Second division, the really tight one. Bonneton and Cambuslang at the bottom of the table.
Bonneton.
What do you think, Des?
I just think Cambuslang have been too poor. I think Bonnet.
You think that today was a fluke?
I know. Well, given
I think it
they
was.
could lift them, but aye.
I think it was a one-off.
I'm going to go draw. I'll save the big one for then. Larkhall, Muirkirk.
Larkhall.
Des?
I'm staying away from draws.
Muirkirk, I think.
Larkhall for me.
I think today is as much as it's a kick in the teeth, it might just be that kick up the bum that Ross needs to say, you've got one game, guys.
Aye.
One game.
I know, because that is all it needs.
That is.
Win, and they've beaten Larkhall during the week there.
Yeah.
Tight one.
Yoker and Nielsen.
Nielsen
For me.
It's got to be Nielsen.
It's got to be Nielsen. And then the big one, Lanark and Whitlets.
Lanark.
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 Because it's that Lanark.
Aye.
This isn't going to happen. It's going to be a draw.
Oh,
It's going to be this, and it's going to be
we'll get
chaos.
quite a few of these wrong, no doubt.
Aye.
Third division, assuming that Threave are in a position to get promoted,
Mhm.
we have Greenock and Lugar.
Greenock.
Yeah, Greenock.
Greenock for me as well. Threave at home to Vale Leaving.
Three. Aye. Three. Fair lead up going.
Greenock need Monday or Wednesday
Need one.
to go pear shaped for Threave. And a draw will be enough for them as well. For then at the bottom league. By the way, these are two tough games. Knightswood and Eglinton. It's tight.
I've been going Knightswood all season, so I'm not going to change.
I'll go with it. Knightswood given they're at home.
Knightswood for me. Port and St Peters.
You've got to say Port as well, but against St Peters.
I tell you what, I said
Form's been good.
I'd be at New Western Park next week if Frederick get promoted. If the Port win, I think I'll probably be there.
Aye, fair enough. I'll go Port. I think Tam will get their beats.
I think it'll be 2 wins, but also Knightswood will get the edge.
Knightswood win the league, and I'll still meet you at Benfrey.
We'll look. We'll have a wee look at what 3 minutes left to discuss this. Manager of the year. Now I'm going to make it 4 so it can be a vote on Twitter. And the reason I'm saying 4 is because that's all they'll allow you to put in a poll. So who's your 4?
My 4, for me, I'm going Gordon Moffat, Jimmy Quigley, Ross Cusick, and Michael Pender.
Right, Scott, what would be yours?
Jimmy, obviously. Obviously, Gordon. I'm going to go a bit left field. I think Sean at Ardeer's had a fantastic season.
I would disagree.
Michael Pender.
Now, if anybody on YouTube wants to comment in on this, or if anybody wants to send us a quick message on WhatsApp 07396 717 412, give us your 4. Mine, I would go for Moff, Jimmy. Then we're excuse me, then we're tight because
I'm going Ross because
I think Ross definitely, if they get promoted. If they don't, does Daryl Meikle get a look in? I mean, at Lanark, what a job he's done. Then
But Lanark again are not to disrespect Darryl because he's also done a great job. But Lanark are a team who've been up there and
but what if they win the league from
We're-
the position they've been in?
Uh-huh.
I know what you're saying.
Mhm.
And then even, what about David Watt? I know he's not been there the whole season, but what about David Watt at Thorn? I mean, he's carried on that impressive run. Fleming at Greenock is so difficult
Mhm.
because if they can get promoted, what a job. It's,
They better just do one for each league.
do you know what I know?
Probably be easier
But then it'd be too easy.
than dilute it.
Apart from maybe 1 or 2 divisions.
I just
it'd
think
be too easy.
Michael as well because okay, I know he's got a wee bit of budget there, but Knightswood can never win a league.
I'd
never done this.
I'd say in terms of resources, in terms of resources, they're by far away ahead of everybody else in that league. So I'm not taking it away from Michael. I think he's done a sensational job. But for me, it's very much one of those ones because they've got the resources. But let's get a look at PG versus the pundits. I lost, so that's good enough. Well done for you guys. 5 out of 5 today.
Done.
And the Ben's done me. So the Ben's losing that goal has absolutely done me. But look, Johnny has mentioned earlier when he was on that he has St Anthony's manager Martin Montgomery on tomorrow. So it'll be interesting to hear what Monty has to say. I think that'll be interesting to see what he's going to say because they're borderline relegated. But as you look into next season, then on Wednesday we've got Paul Adams is going to be on. I'm not sure who Paul's on with. Paul tries to drive me insane and leave it till Wednesday morning to record these shows when I need everybody to do it before. On Thursday, Shay and Brooklyn will be back with the All Talk Scottish Premiership, so make sure you tune into that one, help the guys build their show. So it's just a brand new show for them. And then next Saturday, Des will be back with Johnny and with Paul, and it's going to be an absolute belter. I think it's going to be
Yeah.
a great one. Any final thoughts for the last 10 seconds before we go?
No, just congratulations to Arthur, obviously.
Yeah.
Over the line, champions.
Yeah, league winners, you can't ask any more, can you? So, no, congratulations to Athley. Another team winning a trophy from Renfrewshire.
Exactly.
We're sitting here, Arthurly, back in the Premier League. It's all to play for in the first division. It looks like everything's settled in the Premier League. Clydebank have still got to go away next week and get themselves into the lower league first team fair level to do it. It's going to be so interesting. And you know what? It's hard to call how it's going to be in that second division. It's going to be ridiculous. So for us, it's been a great weekend. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. Have a good one. Tune in next week.
Do I need to get logins and stuff for this YouTube thing?